Hello, hello, hello everyone. Welcome. We've reached another Saturday. It feels like Saturday is just coming and coming almost to the point where every single day is a Saturday. Actually, that'd be pretty cool if every single day was a Saturday. Unless you actually work on a Saturday, that'd suck. But yeah, for me it doesn't. And it's not about you, it's about me. No. How you going, Andy? You good?
Yeah, better than I was yesterday. I was feeling pretty shitty yesterday, but when I got in from work and basically took to my bed, which was, well, I just, climbed into bed and stayed there. So I missed Pro Synth Network yesterday. Watched a bit of it later on when I sort of woke up after midnight and stuff. But RCOZ just said, missed you yesterday.
It was a good,
that, isn't it?
I mean, obviously I don't watch it live, but it was a good show. I watch it on the replay because it's 2 a.m. when they start streaming that here. And no, it was a good show because they had Kent on, and I think Kent's in the chat already. And they had
Kent's there. Hi, Kent.
Mark.
Mark Zaffin.
Mark Zaffin, yeah.
He's always good for a laugh, isn't he?
And if Mark,
I love his little videos.
I've already said this to Mark anyway, personally on Facebook. But Mark, if you're watching, happy birthday, mate. Hope you have a good day.
Indeed, yeah. Happy birthday. I did ping him a message too.
Right. What are we up to? Yeah, this kind of feels weird today for a whole bunch of reasons, but and Andy knows what some of them are. But on the synth sort of side, it just you kind of sort of get on the other side of so much gear news, and you kind of just want to sit down and have a little rest, don't you? You know. Have a nap or something. It's kind of like
it was
whoa,
quite overwhelming, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was so much. I still haven't got through it all yet.
Yeah, we're kind of processing it, aren't we? That's what we're doing. We're kind of like, hang on a minute, I need to go back and watch this, or I need to go check what that really meant. And I think that's where we're at this week. We're kind of re-looking at things and thinking, hang on a sec, this is pretty cool what they've announced here. We do have Rave Dave here. How you going?
Oh, wicked.
How are you, Dave? What are you up to?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I'm just waiting for Darren.
Oh, he's always late, mate. Don't ever wish Darren to be on time because it's just going to be a constant fail for there. But what have you been up to, mate? What have you been up to? You dropping the bass a lot, mate? What have you been doing?
Oh, bass has been kicking, I'm telling you. I've got quite a few lot of bass tunes and they're really going.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Why don't you say good day to everyone who's watching? There's probably about 30 people or so watching right now.
Hello everyone. It's Suzanne on.
Yeah.
I'm a bit nervous really, it's all those Parma Violets.
Yeah, I know, it's a bit hard being on YouTube's. It's a bit hard, mate.
You're all right, well. As long as I don't get one of those candy floss machines.
Yes, indeed. Have you got a message for everyone, Rave Dave? Is there like a really special message you'd like to tell the whole world right now? Now's your moment, mate.
You don't know how this is to do on camera.
Yeah. Dig deep, mate. Dig deep.
Dig deep. Well, I'm trying not to swear because that's what I usually do. And it was Suzanne who really wanted me on. So, I'm a bit nervous.
She's here. Yeah, she's saying good day to you. That's for sure. Just put the love signs on. Let me just go to the chatty. You can have a read of this, Rave. You can see there she's having a bit of a chat to you there, saying thank you and love hearts and all that sort of stuff. So it's working. Whatever you're doing, mate, the love is crossing the internet all the way from the UK down to...
Sorry, I was just reading that.
Yeah. Sorry, mate, I'm a bit quick, aren't I, on the button. Do you want me to go back? There you go.
My eyes are not as good as they used to be.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, cooking on a bit, aren't we, these days?
Cooking on, you're telling me.
Yes, indeed. Well, we better get on with the show. We've got, about 10 minutes to go before we... Everyone in chat, let us know if we're coming through, especially Rave Dave. I mean, he's got the new mic happening, and yeah, we should be good. Be an interesting show this week. Don't know what happened to Darren.
Is everything back to front?
It's back to front, is it?
Why is everything back to front?
Yeah, because if you put your hand up and then you go to the left, it actually points to the right. It's kind of weird. It's like looking in a mirror. It's very strange.
You're telling me you tried doing this?
Oh, mate, I couldn't do it. I mean, yeah, ventriloquism is a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing. Yeah. No.
What do you mean by ventriloquism?
That's casting nasturtions. That runs. That is no, but that's what we're talking about, Darren, aren't we? I mean, because really, it's Rave Dave's house, and Darren's just a tenant there, isn't he? So. I mean,
You're telling me. I tell you what,
we
I was messing about with
we
the
know who's in
AM1X
charge.
before you. Everything up to 11, and then what a bass it can perform. It's an old synth.
It is. It disappoints you, doesn't it, mate? Hey.
I was raving.
Improv. That's what you should do, Rav. Just improv. Just pretend it's your favourite synth.
You try getting Darren and me on the shot. That's going to be tricky.
Well, I mean, we've tried to do a lot of things with Darren. Everything's tricky with that. I was talking to Andy about it before. Like, we're just casting despair here. Yeah.
I wasn't. I was being really nice. It was Ranzee that were being horrible. Honest. I'm a nice bloke. I never say anything nasty about anyone.
If you knew how much he was sweating at this moment in time.
Just tell him to grab a Volca. He'll be all right.
No. Grab a Volca. Where from?
What's a Volca?
What's a Volca?
Me.
It's the Palmer Violet.
It's really sad. It's really sad. Park
they
benches.
tip you over the edge, do they, Rave Dave?
Ask Darren about.
Those benches out last time he had them under his coat, and I didn't like it one bit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but I don't want to see what's under his coat. None of us want to see what's under his coat.
That's still mate.
Are you okay? Do you need counselling? I can recommend someone. Kent's in the chat room.
You want to need more than that.
Yeah, we need to go to another rave. I think that's what we need to do. Dearie me. All right. Well, Dave, what do you reckon we should do today? Do you reckon we should put the air conditioning on or something? What is that going to help?
I don't know about that.
It's a beyond help. Yes.
Palmer Violet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay. So everyone in the chat's saying they're happy.
I think you've lost the plot.
I think so too. Yeah.
Polka.
Polka Volca. Yeah. Look, let's have another read what these guys are saying in the chat room before we hit the main show. We are expecting Darren to put some rave music on, but he's kind of failed so far. It's kind of failed. We're a little bit disappointed in that.
If he doesn't pass out.
Oh, Wagoo! Who's calling Darren a Muppet? That's just not on. He's not a Muppet.
I'm not a Muppet.
Oh my gosh. Dave's popping these purple pills.
Darren might be.
He's saying that Dave's popping purple pills every night.
Too many.
Hey? Pink furry things and then purple furry things. Wow. Incredible. Everyone is welcome to Fraggle Rock, according to Andy, Synth Addict. I actually don't get that. I mean, Fraggle Rock.
Cares away.
I don't get Fraggle Rock. Is that a show that didn't come to Australia? I think maybe.
It was an offshoot of a certain famous series that started with Sesame Street and another one of those. But we're not allowed to mention those because because clearly Rave Dave is far too. I won't say young. I'll just say.
No,
I'll just say nothing actually.
Andy, you're sitting there. You go, I've got nothing. I've got nothing. Oh, dearie me.
Sad thing is, I do remember it all. I could probably even sing you the song. No, I won't sing you the song now because
Well, Rave Dave, I want to show you something before we start the show.
Yeah, what you like that on this panel?
This place that you're welcome to see every Saturday is all going to be stripped apart again. Can you believe it? Again. Yep. And I just want to show you. This is what my house currently looks like. If you just walk out this door right here, this is what it looks like right now. It's all being painted and stripped. Yep.
Hi, Synthesizer.
It's absolutely crazy days here right now. And I guess the good news, though, is that I get to move my studio and I get to move it into another room in my house, which is kind of a bit bigger than the space that I've got here. And the cool thing about that is I finally get some space to actually put some of my keyboards out, which is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I just don't have the space here to do it. So if I want to get a keyboard out at the moment, I have to put things away and put keyboards out. Whereas now I'll be able to set up like a U-shaped design with tables, and I'll be able to put sort of keyboards and all sorts of stuff. I'll basically have about twice as much space as here, which is good. So, and Rave Dave, you're welcome to come to the opening, the inaugural opening. You'll get the first invite.
Oh, that sounds great.
You're the number one ticket holder.
Be bigger.
Bigger, yep.
Start to get more stuff in.
Well, I already got the stuff. I can't get any more stuff because I've already got it. It's sitting in the cupboard. I just need to get it out so I can use it.
Crikey.
Yes, crikey's the word. I even made a sign about that.
I do know Flat Eric, by the way.
Yes.
We're not on good terms, I'll tell you. He doesn't know bass.
No, he doesn't. No. Yeah.
What I want to know is who's the more, how can I put this? Daftest. You talking to me, or me started doing this?
Daft face. I love it. Is it a sine bass or is it a square bass? That's the question.
Triangle.
Sine, I'm going for.
Yeah, like the real...
Mixed with a square.
Mix it. Oh, jeez. Now we're talking wave folding, are we? Are we wave folding your bass?
You've got a bass.
Yes, that's incredible.
I don't know.
Yes.
Just get a 3340 oscillator, put the square wave on and put your triangle underneath. Boom.
Well, I'm going to have to stop it for a sec because we need to start the show. We're about a couple of minutes away from hit the button. So what I'm going to do is introduce this week's topic, which doesn't exist at all. I've just got a graphic for you.
Good.
Here we go.
Amazing.
I'll go get Darren.
Cool. Well, I don't know about you guys, but that was a very interesting pre-show, and I hope you enjoyed it. Brought to you by Rave Dave. We love having Rave Dave on. He's awesome. How's your week been? Welcome to another Saturday. Yes, you've made it. Give yourself a pat in the back. I don't know how we get this far quickly into the week, and then it arrives, and I'm doing another show. Today, I'm kind of a bit rattled because we went out to dinner tonight, and it is nighttime where I am here. It's about just about to hit 9 o'clock at night here. If you're wondering where I am, I'm in Perth, Western Australia. And and I also showed you before the picture of what my house is like at the moment. So this is basically one of the only rooms that hasn't been touched by the painters yet. It's crazy. But the bad thing is I'll be putting all this apart again. But the good news is I'll be able to put it all back together in another room, and hopefully I'll have it all ready by next week. Maybe not all ready, but like at least ready enough to do another show anyway. And we'll get it all up and running. Anyway, without further ado, let's say g'day we'll start with Andy. Andy, how's your week been? Good to see you again, matey.
Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, I've never got anything interesting to say. It's just more of the same. Back
I've got nothing.
Same. I've done absolutely nothing in here since last Saturday at all. I've been getting home from work. Oddly enough, I've been feeling crap all week. But not crap enough to not be at work. So like I said yesterday, I just took to my bed and had an early night. But what I did this morning is I went out and bought some shelving. So I've got some shelving to put up here because I want to put rather than going out and buying a big audio diffuser or trying to build one, I'm just going to put bookshelves up because apparently that works just as well. And I've got loads of books and I need some bookshelves, so that kills that problem. So they will be going up after the show today. And at that point, I'll start putting things back in, and I'll be having a look and moving things around to see where things go. Because a bit like Rave Dave's room, it's a bit of a small one. It's and basically a cube. So there's a door. You can see the door there. It just restricts where you can put things. But I'd like to have a little change about. You know, you're having a full change about. You're moving room. Sorry. But so that will be me, and hopefully next week it'll by this time next week it'll all be in and ready. So yeah, there we are. Trot.
Well, see, that's news. I mean, you're planning your new move. You're planning a new move, and that's news. You're saying you didn't have anything to talk about. There you go, you did. We also got Darren on the show. Good to see you, Darren. Thanks for coming on.
Can you hear me, by the way?
We can, mate. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, cool. You'll have no voice tomorrow. Oh, no. Somebody will have no voice tomorrow.
Don't give it away. The kids are watching. How's your week been, mate?
I said, I don't know. I think.
Yeah, it's been okay. It's been not too bad. Just been working away on tunes and tracks. Yes, the A1X has been having a bit of a whirl out.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been okay. Yeah, fine. Like Andy, not a great deal to report. In fact, I've got an achy arm. I must admit, I don't know where that's come from. But other than that, yeah.
we will not go there. I mean, I could ask your wife, but we will not go there. Speaking of the A1X, Darren,
you would not let it lie.
I'm just wondering, is Robbie in the chat? I can't see Robbie. No, he was asking about the A1X.
Robbie was there, yeah.
Yeah, he was asking about the A1X during the week. So if he's on, I reckon it's an opportunity for Robbie to ask all the questions about the A1X.
I think it must be the only synth from Yamaha that he doesn't know.
Yeah, I think it is too. Yeah. Brilliant. It sounds beautiful though. That's a great sounding synth.
But I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the A1X, and it's quite a lot of it on the album 2121. Actually, there's quite a lot of it on there. I mean, it's blended with other stuff and mixed with other stuff, so it's not like you can. That's the A1X, but there's a lot of A1X stuff and monologue on the. Oh, and Pulse 2 actually.
Oh, nice.
On the EP that'll be coming out, there's quite a few of the bass is from the Pulse 2, so yeah.
And that's a beautiful bass sound, the Pulse 2. It's absolutely lush.
Oh,
lush.
Yeah. That's
aggressive and
that's
lush.
Probably my favourite little synth. Yeah, considering it's favourite little Waldorf that. Although the Blofell's quite good. There's a little bits of that on it, but yeah, mainly because I I mix both, so there's VSTs and hardware stuff on it, so you're not going to be able to point out a specific synth. I wouldn't have thought, but so there's quite a lot of this.
Nice.
On yeah. Okay, sorry.
That's all right. Well, yeah, I was waiting for you to jam for a sec there. I was starting to get into it. Beautiful. Fantastic. Well, let's also say good day to the chatties. We've run out of guests now, so we'll say good day to the chatties. Everyone's talking about how they love the A1X. Yeah, look, I think a few people were talking about how there's a bit of Is there a bit of Dave Smith in the AN1X? There's something to do with Dave Smith and the AN1X, I think. Whether it's whether he had something to do with Yamaha at the time, or he helped program it, or I don't know. Someone will tell us in the chat. There's some link to Dave Smith and the AN1X, and I don't know how true that is. By the way, speaking of AN1Xs, I've got a AN200, which is the little baby version of it. It's like the little Groovebox version. It's about half the size in terms of voices, not in terms of actual physical size, that's for sure. But you could
Robbie said yes, there is.
There you go. There's some Dave Smith. Have a closer look, Darren. Can you have a close look at that? Can you see Dave Smith? Is he in there? Is he in? No, he's not in there.
There's a few people in there.
Dave, are you in there, mate? And he's, help! Let me out! Beautiful. Kent was just saying that he's having, he needs an intervention. He's having serious gas to buy a Polybrute. Just buy it. Someone did a video the other day where they compared I think it was Starsky Car. He did a video where he compared the Polybrute to the, what was the other thing? Polybrute versus, someone tell me in the chat. Anyway.
Oh, I can't remember.
Either can I now.
The Prophet 6?
No, it was Polybrute versus, oh God. Someone will tell us in the chat because everyone watches his channel. So Kent needs to go watch that to gas him up even more. Super 6, that was it, the Udo.
Super 6.
Yeah. And I don't really know why would you compare them? Maybe someone asked him. I can't actually see the link between the two, other than the fact that they're both polyphonic synths. Maybe.
They're in the same bracket.
Yeah. I mean, if it was
6 voices.
If it was me, I would go Polybrute.
Robbie says that he's desperately in love with the Polybrute.
I would go Polybrute if it was me. I do like the Udo 6, don't get me wrong, but I think I'm fat and happy with my Novation Peak because I feel that it kind of sits in a very similar land. They're different, don't get me wrong. I'm not arguing, I'm not saying they're the same, but I feel that if it was a choice, for me personally, because I've already got the Novation Peak, I think the Polybrute would definitely have its own place here where it sits kind of in its own little world. Although I will admit, it kind of is, heading... I'm not going to say it because people will rage. I won't say it. Anyway, what are we going to do first, guys? I think we should... you know what? I think we should attempt to see if maybe someone might laugh. 3 years, I said this last week, 3 years I'm still waiting, but I'm going to keep trying because determination is omnipotent. That's right, boys and girls. Where are we? We are doing this one. Let me just right click on that. She asked me to tie her up and do anything I want, so I did. And he started playing with his Prodigy. I mean...
That's all right.
Well, yeah. I mean, you had to clean that up, didn't you, Andy? But if your missus was tied up, you too would play with your Prodigy. Right. Moving right along. Yes. Some people may not get this, but I certainly do. All right. Okay, I'll help you. First word, Motley. Second word, crew. Now you get it? Okay.
Oh, dear.
What about this one? Yes. That is something that I need, especially after the dinner I had tonight. Woo!
Oh, Rant, no.
I like the inset in the toilet lid. That's pretty good too. That is pretty good. Now this one will get everyone really extremely happy, I think. I think it's raining outside, by the way, if you can hear noise. Well, Isn't that sad? Someone came up with that and thought all boomers music sucks. Anyway, how did we go? Favorite meme of the week, starting with, well, maybe, I don't know, Darren, maybe you could just off to the side there ask if Rave Dave's still about. Maybe you could ask him what his favorite meme of the week is. He could just yell it up the hallway or something.
He likes the toilet.
He likes the toilet, right? The toilet gets the first vote. There's the toilet. All right, now Andy.
The toilet.
Toilet's got 2 votes. 2 votes for the
Toilet humour always wins.
Okay, and now chatties, what are they saying? Oh, MIDI through gets a vote.
MIDI through gets a vote.
Yeah. Yeah. Prodigy gets a vote. Tying up gets a vote. Wow, there's a lot of different opinions today. That's good. We love the diversity. We love diversity.
Toilet humour will always win. End of story.
I think looking at, I think we've got a tie. I think we're about 50% toilet and 50%
high-pitched voices.
Yeah, I think we're about 50%. Right. Anyway, moving right along, we do have news. Yes, there's even more news than there was last week. I know, right? How could there possibly be more news from last week? There is. There's a blank screen there that says news, but trust me when I tell you that I'm about to click a button and play a video, and we are about to see everything emerge into this. Now this thing looks absolutely amazing. All right, let's talk a little bit while we're playing. This is a synth by Future Retro called a Vectra, which is a very, very good name for it. When you consider it, it's actually a Vectra synth. A Vector synthesizer with all the joysticks. Look at that. Look at those 4 joysticks. I mean, that's just sound design heaven, really, isn't it? Okay, so what can we tell you about this thing? Let's just pause it there so we can have a look at it and talk at the same time. So you've got 2 displays. You've kind of got a small one and a big one. The smaller one obviously is your oscilloscope, and the bigger one is for your memories and patches and information up on the screen. So the 4 joysticks are basically parameter morphing. That's what they're all for. We don't really have a lot more information about this just yet, other than let me just quickly cross here. If we go to their website, which is here, they haven't even got it listed on their website yet. So that video that we watched was from Super Booth. We don't have any price, but I'm just like completely, really interested in this synth. And for me, vector synthesis is something that I love. I don't know if you guys remember, but I did a video a couple of weeks ago on the Brains by Behringer, which is basically a Platts clone, and I used the Planet 2, which is a CV control which control cross morphing and things like that, and that kind of brings it into sort of similar territory to what this synth does. And I tell you what, it was absolutely amazing fun just to have something where you could control it with a joystick and you're sort of moving between different, sounds and different sort of modulations and things like that. Kind of a bit like the Chaos pads and the, the KP3s, that, kind of like that, kind of a bit like that. But I still think, you know, that's a great looking synth. Let's just go back to that picture again, because I think it's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty. Look at that. Doesn't that look like an amazing looking synth? Really nicely designed. Nice look. Ergonomics are there. You've got a left hand and a right hand, so you've got, you know, controls on the left, controls on the right. Everything is all centered for your visuals. I just think it's really, really well designed. I'm definitely keen on getting more information about this. Let's go to you guys. Who wants to have a quick comment about the the Vectra?
I'd like to
Andy,
jump in.
go.
I'd like to know if it's really necessary to put it through an SSL.
Yeah.
I'm assuming compressor or signal processor and a shed load of pull text just to make it sound as buzzy as that.
No, I don't think it is it? Let's just hear it by
I'm
itself.
being rude. I was actually more lusting after the outboard than the thing itself. Even though I have to say, yeah, I think it looks great. The joysticks are a joy, aren't they? They look fab.
Yeah. And instead of twiddling the knobs, you're twiddling with joysticks. You know, it's kind of.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting idea. Yeah, really cool concept.
Yeah. What about you, Darren? Are you kind of? Is this the first time you've seen that little baby?
It's the first time I've seen that. Yeah. No, I like the idea of joysticks. I think, like you say, a bit like the Chaos Pad, you can just evolve the actual. You know, you've got more sort of. It's not as. What's the word I'm looking for? It's more analog-y feel, isn't it, to drift round the parameters and things. A bit like having the two-shape wired up to, you know, set up to a soft synth doing that. So I like that. The only thing I would say, depends on your environment. Like for in here, I think after a month or two of having it, I might probably start getting bored of the joysticks because I don't work that way. But that's not knocking it. I think they're great, and it'd be great to play live with, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a live performing synth, that's for sure. Yeah, let's have a quick look what the chatties think. I haven't been keeping an eye on them. Probably should do that. It's hard to do that with 50,000 windows open on my computer. Can I zoom? You mean zoom in on the picture? Was that not close enough? I can probably give you a closer picture. Actually, I thought I had. What about this? Is that better? Or is that about the same?
It's a bit bigger.
Yeah, the problem is that we've only really got what's in that video to look at, and the video is 1080p, and it's probably as good as we're going to get it, I think. But you know what? If you guys are on Discord, I will put a picture. I'll chuck a copy of that picture on Discord now, and you can go check it out. And if you want to zoom, you can zoom. You can zoom to your heart's content. Where are we? Discord, bang, in, done. Okay, it's in Discord, go zoom. Right, okay, any other comments about it? People are sort of saying similar things. I love the idea of the 4 joysticks, but Wagoo's saying 4 faders might be better. But you're not going to be able to. Are you going to be able to do XY with a fader? I don't know about that.
Yeah, I thought that the joystick, so you can literally, like you say, pan around the XY.
Yeah.
With faders, I don't know how you do that.
Some people are saying that
VCS3 had a joystick. Full stop.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's not like that's new.
With good reason.
Some people prefer pads to joysticks. I don't know. I like the joystick. I like the ability to sort of to tap a joystick, just nudge it here, and I don't feel I can do that with the pad. I don't get that sort of.
Do they spring back to the sensor or the?
So I don't know because we don't have any details.
They didn't look to be. They looked like they were.
No, when he was playing it and moved it, I don't think it sprang back. That it stayed where it was.
But with some of these top joysticks, you can actually configure them to either spring back or to break where they are left. And like for example, the Planner 2, I keep talking about the IntelliGel Planner 2. You can muck around with those sort of features as well. Yeah, I don't think you'd want it to spring back in that particular case. You'd probably want to move it to get the sound that you want and leave it there. Yeah. If it sprang back, I reckon that'd do your head in. Right. Okay. Speaking of doing your heads in, let's go to the next one. And I did turn the volume down, so I'm going to have to turn it back up again. What about this?
This is Anima Fee, your portal to new sound universes inspired from the real world, where objects collide, vibrate, and resonate.
Let's have subtitles.
Anima Fee is an affordable hybrid monophonic synthesizer. It is compact enough to stand on your keyboard or anywhere on your desk, and its DIN and USB port supports any MIDI controllers such as keyboards, sequencers, or wind controllers. Anima Fee blends the classic ingredients of electronic music with physical modeling technology, allowing it to simulate acoustic sound sources such as strings or reeds, as well as resonating structures like wood, glass, or metal. The matrix of Anima Fee provides a quick and easy way to explore your sounds, with 4 macros for each of the 5 stages of sound generation: excitation, vibration, diffusion, effects, and animation. And if you want to dive deeper beyond the matrix, lies a...
All right, let's stop it there because the video goes for a couple more minutes. I will link that into the chat in a sec. I do want to tell you guys one thing. It's 499 euros. It is a Kickstarter project, I believe. Or maybe it started as a Kickstarter project. Sorry, it started as a Kickstarter project, sorry, I should say. And it is monophonic. So there's a couple of things to mention there. But physical modeling is a good thing. And I'm starting to sort of enjoy some of the direction that physical modeling synths are going through here. Definitely sounded good. Anyway, enough about me. We're going to go across to Darren. Nice compact synth, this one, Darren. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I quite like it, actually. I don't know if that's because it's sort of playing on the universes and colliding sort of stuff, which is, again, not to spout out about anything, but that's exactly where my album was originally. But I do like that. I do like that type of sound. Yeah, 499. Yeah, possibly. It's in that ballpark of, is it slightly too expensive for what it is? I don't know. I'm a bit like that about it, but I do like it, and I do like like you said, that type of sound sort of grown on me, and using that in a lot of stuff. So yes, I do like it, but like I say, the price is. It's what can you get for 500?
See, that's the thing.
Or
that's the thing, Darren.
A red box.
If you took 100 euros off of that, if that was 399, that would be a completely different reaction.
Exactly.
I think it makes a massive difference. That's a real sort of dynamic price range. That is. Anything...
that price range just drops you right into the middle of a lot of good stuff at that price.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, and it's a mono synth as well. You look at something like the Dreadbox Typhoon, which is cheaper than that. And it's sort of like, you've positioned. I think it's just positioned slightly too wrong with the price. Because it's for more like people like who are really into that, really want it, and they'd go for that. Yeah, but it's like me where I'm on the sort of on that edge, and then I look at the price and I go 500 or 499, 500. It's like, I don't know, do I really want it that much?
Yeah, look, maybe it might be a bit cheaper street price. That might be something to hold out.
Oh yeah, I mean, it might turn out to be. They might, yeah.
Physical
modeling.
I'm
with you on that, Rant. Do like all that type of stuff, physical modeling stuff.
Yeah, I do too. Vector synths, physical modeling, love it. Wavetables, yep. Granular, love all that sort of stuff. Andy, what about you?
I thought it sounded great. I really did like the sounds coming out of it. I'm assuming that the sounds were coming out of the Anima Fee rather than the Prophecy, which will also do sounds like that quite happily. I also was interested. Somebody commented further up. I can't remember who it was now. I'm sorry, it's gone off the screen. It's in the same ballpark also as things like the Mutable Elements and the Harken Egan Matrix.
Yeah, the Egan Matrix. Yep.
They're similar. Okay, in Eurorack, you could even argue that similar sounds are easily obtainable out of Platts, Stroke, Brains, as well, and that are considerably lower
and
price.
you've got
If you can
rings
get
in
hold
there
of
as
Brains,
well.
of course.
Yeah, you can chuck rings in there.
Absolutely, a couple of those. I mean, they're lovely sounds. So, but I'm with that. I'm with Darren as well. That 499, just if it was just 100,
Drop
euros
a hundy
cheaper, you might be. Yeah, then you might be thinking, yes, that's tempting. But certainly, I think it's a
like,
really
would
nice.
you sell
sounding
more
product,
going
really nice
slightly
sounding.
lower price and make a profit, or at a slightly higher price and sell less? So it's
I suppose that's always the balance that they're trying to strike, isn't it? But
what they've got to,
I think it sounds like a really good product, and the fact that it's monophonic doesn't really worry me too much.
I don't think so either. I mean, a lot of those modules that you talked about, Andy, are monophonic as well. What they've got to,
saxophones are monophonic, and so are clarinets, and so are flutes.
Exactly. What they've got to do, Andy, though, is I think they need to come and see us before they set prices in future. Don't you think?
I think they need to give us a demo of it all, and we'll come back with what price we think it should be.
Give us a demo model each, and we'll do a little review. That'd be nice. Yeah, we'll have one each, and we'll let you know what we think.
Yeah. Here's the Webby. So yep, definitely €4.99.
There's also
there. Yeah.
There's also a certain Waldorfness about that, isn't there? Like you mentioned the Pulse already. That sort of like matrix of editing. It reminds me very much of that.
Very,
and
it
Waldorf.
looks very similar actually when you look at it.
Yeah,
because
it's a very similar design.
Yeah, I think someone mentioned in chat that it's got a Waldorf layout.
Oh, did they? Oh, am I repeaing somebody else's genius?
No.
Thank you very much to that person.
That there, the fact that it's shipping is free, may have a little bit to do with the price too. So maybe instead of
possibly
country, 2 years warranty is good. I like that. 2 years of bulk. Yeah, there's it's got stuff like this. That's what are they saying? It's got a percussive playing stuff. I'm interested in that. So, what do they mean by that? Percussive. I might need to have another look at that. Really, there you go. This guy's out. If you are interested in that baby, I'm getting an. Let us know in chat.
We're buffering for some reason.
The rain. We had rain. Don't forget, this is...
doing it again.
This is... right. That is... Some bits. And it starts... We'll record regardless. We can still have a show. We're jumping off like flies at the moment. Stay. Be patient. Don't blame.
Come back in. Just go out and come back in, and he catches up. So buffering a lot. Is the whole world watching YouTube?
Yeah. I'm just going to pull the plug on this baby. Give it a second. Give it a second. Give it a second.
Might have to drop back out of that actually and come back in. Oh, bugger. All the way out.
Should be back up.
Not see me wave my arm. Gee, God, they're that far behind.
There you go. We should be back up. All right. Now I am going to be streaming. Yeah, that's pretty quick. I'm going to be streaming.
God, that's about, well, coming back to me, it's about a 30-second delay.
Oh, it was before because of the buffering. So what happens when it buffers is all the video frames will basically just queue up behind it until it gets a message saying, I've set those frames, send the next and send the next. And if it's not sending them quick enough, it just keeps literally queuing it back. So that would have been nasty. Anyway, let us know in chat if you guys can see us again, because it should still be working. According to me, it's working again. Yeah, good. Like I said, I've changed the internet connection. So this particular internet connection that I'm using right now is shared with everyone else in my house. So this is probably more flaky than the others. But hey, we will continue the show. Okay, I should be back. I just got to wait for Darren and Andy to come back in. All right, so we're back. It says buffering. I can't win. This is a shocker. Ah, dearie me. Making sure it's working. I'm just watching myself to see how bad this is. Yep. Okay, we're back up. Cool. All right. Just wait for the other lads to come back. I just need to let Darren know because Andy's back.
Yeah. All back.
Yeah, Darren's back. Cool. All right. Sorry, vMix crashed, guys. Which would have actually booted those two guys. I do apologize. I was talking, and then all of a sudden my screen went black, and it just not the computer. The computer's been running, but it's just vMix. Anyway, we're back. Let's just keep it going. God knows what is technical issues again. Right.
Yeah, we're all right.
Let's go to here. We had one more item of news, and that was we were talking about this, which was the leak. Well, it's not really a leak because they played this thing at Super Booth. What is this from Poly End? It looks like some sort of Groovebox. It's got pads, it's got knobs and controls, it's got a little OLED display there. It's definitely not a tracker. If you think that's a tracker, that's the tracker up to the right of him on the box above it.
The knobs look a little bit tiny for me, by the look of it.
Little Volca sort of knobs, aren't they? Yeah. So it's, yeah. If it is a Groovebox, one of the things that we do know about Poly End is they've got some good stuff already. They've got, is it the Medusa? The Medusa. They've got the tracker, of course. Box, yeah. They've got the a couple of Eurorack modules. They're really good.
A bit deluge-y like.
Very good sequencer. I have to admit, not everyone's going to agree with me, but the speed and the ease of use of the tracker user interface is something to behold. Even if you're not a tracker person, it's actually just so intuitively brilliant to use. If they have that sort of depth of programming in their sort of kit there, whatever this is going to be, it's obviously it's not going to be a tracker. It's going to be a standard sort of sequencer Groovebox thing. It's going to be a hit. I'm telling you, these guys really know their stuff. Anyway, so we don't really have any more to show you other than this, but stay tuned. I love leaks. Leaks are good. Leaks always get us excited. And I'm a big fan of Poly End as a company. I really like them. They're a small company, and we should, do what we can to support them. Keeping an eye on YouTube. So I really do apologise about the issues before. So we'll see how we go. Right. What we didn't run last week because we ran out of time was this segment called Price Watch. And Price Watch is brought to you this week, as it is for most weeks recently, by Synth Addict Andy. Big hello to Andy who's in the chat. Starting with this one, the Aries 300 modular. Yes, what an interesting looking thing this is. So, meticulously restore ARP 26 vintage synth dealer. I don't really know if that's got any relation to it. I think he's just sort of saying that he's an ARP 2600 dealer in the ad. But $14,500 US. Interesting. Do you guys know what this is? Have I still got Andy and Darren? Yep.
Yep.
Sorry.
Can you hear us?
I can, yeah. Do you guys know what the Aries... Yeah, I can.
No, I never heard of it before.
Aries 300 modular.
Well, it's only got 10 modules in it from counting them up. But it's a nice, big, chunky beast of a thing, isn't it? Is it 4 octaves? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 octave keyboard.
So this is a 70s machine, and they were based in Massachusetts. Hello to all the Boston people. The 300 is a classic modular system that competed against Moog, ARP, Buchla, EMU, and Roland of the time. So obviously they were probably the underdogs if they were competing against those guys. Preamp, envelope followers, sequences, sample and hold, a whole bunch of stuff in there. Yeah. Not a lot on Synth Explorer about this. Anyone? Let's have a quick look in the chat to see if anyone in the chat.
Natives just said, and part DIY modular, and Kent said it's not even a full system.
Oh, that isn't, no, because you can see there's a lot of blanks there. And I think in the listing there was something about that. Well, it doesn't show on this graphic though, but I'm pretty sure if I read it in the listing, and this was going back a while because I think Andy's given these to me probably about a month or so ago. Anyway, that's the first one.
Yeah, PPG 3 sounds like a PPG 300, says Kent. Well, that'd be interesting because that's a really cool machine.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a play on one of those.
I was under the impression that they didn't sound Moogy, they sounded more ARPy. That was from the impression I got. But Kent was saying the quality of the build. He made a comment about the quality of the build. Anyway, let's go to this one. Sorry, bad one. Bad click. What about this one? The Hartmann Neuron. Haven't seen one of these
that's the thing.
for a while.
Sticky out keys, never good.
Yeah, like the ARP Quadra, isn't it?
Yeah, Quadra.
Yeah.
And some of the Prodigy, and some of the Odysseys had sticky out keys too.
I love showing this.
The orange
waiting for you to pull them off.
Yeah, I love showing this old stuff. So it's nearly 7,000 US. This thing had, if I remember rightly, and someone can tell me because I haven't quite got the graphic, because obviously there's all different pictures down the bottom there, but this is just a static screenshot. But I was under the impression that if you look at the way this is designed, right, you can see how there's a bit of wood trim on the right, but on the left it doesn't. And I think on the left-hand side, there's all the connections. I think it's got like, like all the audio connections down on the left-hand side, and there's like there's a vent and all that sort of stuff. I'll see if I can find another picture of it.
It's a very strange looking thing.
Yeah.
It looks so unbalanced. It would upset me. My OCD would just get really cross with it.
Yeah. This one's been signed too. It does say that in the actual listing too. Who's signed it?
Yeah, scruffy handwriting. That would annoy me as well. Sorry. Maybe
it's been signed by Hartmann himself. It's a 3D modeling type thing with the joystick.
Again, synth covered in joysticks. It seems to be a theme today.
It's a theme today.
There's hardly any marks on it apart from the signature. Hopefully it's a good signature.
Darren, up to 48 voices you can get in this. Not saying this particular one has 48 voices, but it can be configured up to 48. It's got 2 resonators with 3 parameter layers per scape or sphere with a stick recording function. In other words, the joystick movement records. I don't know how else you'd describe that. 1 envelope for modulation, 1 amp per resonator. So it's got basically two amps with their own envelope, and 1 definable envelope with 4 levels, 4 times. So it's one of those kind of crazy envelopes that you can define. I like that.
Yeah, again, Kent's wisdom. It's good having him in the chat actually, because he's just said, and when it fails, it's a.
All right, we're back. Okay. Ah, dearie me, we crashed again. That was vMix crashing again. Hopefully, you guys are back. Good. Sorry, we crashed again. Andy, you were saying before it crashed about what Kent said in the chat.
Kent said, Kent said if it fails, then it's just a doorstop. So I'm assuming that means that it's all bespoke, parts inside, and you'd be hard pushed to repair it, which is an interesting comment. I mean, he's the man who knows, isn't he? He'll know about this stuff. So,
yeah. Apologies for the crashes and weird things. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's because we've got the house all completely in bits and pieces, and who knows, someone might have pulled a cable somewhere.
And you've done a deal on our subs or with your subs.
I don't know. It's starting to piss me off anyway, just as much as it is you guys. Okay, let's keep going. Otherwise, we'll never get to the end of it. There is the next one. The Modcan Model A full 113 module system. Look at that baby, hey? 110 grand US. Predicted to sell soon, hey? According to Reverb. Good on you, Reverb, for giving us a bit of a slap across the back of the head. It's got
Serious inquiries only.
21 boxes.
Yeah. And after everything, all it comes up with is 42.
After everything, all it does is go blip, blop, blip, blop, blip, blop, blop, blip.
Seems like a fair price for a modular. Behave, Asiohead.
Who was it? Mark did that video where he was saying how he's never going to buy you a rack, and that video wasn't
funny video.
It was a great video, and everyone was raging.
It was really good
because they all assumed he was talking about something that he wasn't talking about at all, which was actually quite funny.
Did that really well. Yeah, big thumbs up to Zaffers for that one, because it was very, very well done, and everything he said was right, of course.
Oh yeah,
even those people who like the modulars would have to go, yeah, he's right about that. Yep,
I'd have to agree with him. I'd have to agree with him.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, that's the sort of thing that if you do want to go to modular, you take this home in the back of your Lamborghini. Oh my god.
or your Kia Picanto.
Yeah. That 3-wheeler thing. What's that? The Fiat.
Reliant Robin.
Was it the Fiat? The 3-wheeler thing? What was the thing that what's his name? Mr. Bean was in.
Yeah, Reliant Robin.
Reliant Robin.
Yeah. Stick that through the sunroof.
Look, Morgan also did a 3-wheeler, so not all 3-wheelers are terrible. Mind you, some people might argue that the 3-wheeler Morgan's
still make it, actually, don't they?
They do, yeah, still get it.
Yeah. We do have one more, and that is this one.
Nice.
This one isn't
yummy.
Isn't so rare, but the Rhodes Chroma is nice. Very nice indeed.
It's just gorgeous. I mean, it's a piece of furniture, that, isn't it? It's just beautiful. Oh,
Yes, you can
I've
save
gone a bit soggy.
$1,000, Andy. You can save $1,000
joy.
in this one. Yeah, bonus.
Glad about that. I'm glad I can save that.
And if you're in the US and you have an account with a firm, you can just pay $259 a month. That's a lot of money per month. That is a serious chunk of cash per month.
Oh, dear.
Big shout out to everyone in Wilmington in Massachusetts. Is Wilmington part of Boston, I think, isn't it? Or is that a town somewhere else? I don't know where Wilmington is.
Well, there's a Wilmington in the south of England as well, in Sussex. They've got a nice big chalk figure of a man holding two sticks, sort of two poles. No, seriously, check him out. The Long Man of Wilmington. It's not the one with the big willy. It's just a man with holding two poles.
Oh.
They reckon they're measuring poles. So yeah, check him out. Check him out.
We've got to see what Kent's saying about this thing in chat. Dearie me. He's got
5 in the garage. Kent, you're a cad, but probably telling us absolutely the truth. That's the amazing thing.
Dearie me. Sell them, mate. Sell them on Reverb.
Oh dear.
You honestly, you could pave your slow retirement. Okay. We have, through absolute tin cans and pieces of string, managed to string the rest of the show together with craziness. This has been horrible. Anyway, it's not anyone's fault, but I do want to say one more thing before we kind of go into our normal discussion, and that is a little bit of a sad note, the passing of Richard. And if you don't know who Richard is, Richard was probably the revered person from Cabaret Voltaire and other things. And I have to say, I'm an absolute massive Cabaret Voltaire fan. I used to listen to them way back in the early 80s, all the way through till recently. And as you can see here, this is actually Bernard's post. He actually wrote this. They were really influential to Joy Division and early days of New Order. In fact, I think their first album, Movement, had a little bit of help from Richard and the like. But I agree, Richard will be sorely missed. In fact, I had the track, Andy, I Want You on repeat for a good probably a couple of hours yesterday. You know, that the reason why that track kind of did it for me is because of all the controversy behind that album. Do you remember in the day when Marilyn Manson was sampled in that track? Some of the things that he was saying in it were kind of controversial. That was their way. That was their shock and awe sort of way, that they used to distort stuff and it really get in your face. So that was their way, and I loved it. It was kind of so raw and so ballsy is a good word, isn't it? They were really ballsy as a group. They really did things that no one else dared to try, and a lot of that's Richard. And so Vale, Richard, rest in peace, mate.
It goes back a long way. I mean, I'd like to say a few more words, if that's all right, because I think it's worth spending the time on. Apart from the fact Cabaret Voltaire were true pioneers, you know, they were doing weird stuff up here in Sheffield from 1973 onwards that coincided with similar things happening in London with Throbbing Gristle, you know, experimental music, people building their own boxes. I mean, playing saxophones through ring modulators and frequency shifters and that sort of thing. It was real groundbreaking stuff, and it's paved the way. I knew Richard. I couldn't call him a friend, but I met him on plenty of occasions and actually worked quite closely with him on two, insofar as the way it happened was the first live gig that Richard Kirk ever did on his own as Richard Kirk was done through a night here in Sheffield called Live Mind, which a friend of mine was promoting. And I got a phone call one night saying, Andy, we've got Richard, he's going to need this, and this. Can you provide any of that equipment? So I said, well, yeah, I can provide a mixer. You can use my Mackie mixer. I can provide a keyboard to trigger his sampler. I can provide an effects unit. Yeah, I can do that. Keyboard stand, I can provide that stuff. So the deal was I brought it down on the night, and that would be that. So I arrived at the club with my Mackie mixer, my W30, an effects unit, and a a couple of keyboard stands and just drop them off. And as I was dropping them off, Richard arrived, and he said, "Well, here's my bits. Go on, sort of get it set up if you would." And I was like, "You what?" He said, "Well, it's your desk, isn't it? So you know how to wire it up and stuff." And so, okay, so down we went into the main room. All my gear, Richard's 3 DAT machines, his S1000 sampler, a Juno 106, which we'd had to borrow from somewhere else. And so we went and set up all the gear. And then one of the DAT machines wouldn't work. So in order to get this DAT machine, we came to the conclusion it was because it was damp. So I was standing there with a hairdryer. We borrowed Jan, the nightclub owner's hairdryer, to blow hot air into this DAT machine. So blowing it. And eventually we got the DAT machine working, and we got it all going and all wired up and everything. And I said, right, okay, well, that's me done. I'll see you. And Richard turned to me and he just said, when I'm playing, I want you there, right next to me, there, just in case anything goes wrong. And I'm thinking, God, blimey, what are you on about, mate? All I know how to do is hold the hairdryer. What are you on about? And it went, so there was this crazy situation of me actually, Richard on stage doing his first ever live set, and me standing virtually, was up next to him, but a bit out of the way, and doing this first gig. And it was for what he was promoting. He was promoting the Nitrogen double album that he just released at that point, which, if anybody's not heard it, check it out. It's brilliant. It's a fantastic double album. And the whole gig was about a 2-hour-long gig, went absolutely smoothly with no let or hindrance. So I didn't have to do anything. A few months later, he sort of did another gig in Sheffield at the Republic Club, and he rang me up and said, I want you to do the same thing again if you'd be so kind. So I did. So basically, I was like the live tech for Richard H. Kirk for his first 2 live gigs here in Sheffield, as a sort of payment, if you like. He invited me to I had to take a couple of his bits back to him. He said, bring them round to Western Works, the Cabaret Voltaire's and Richard Kirk's studio here in Sheffield. He let me know where it was, gave me the address. So I had to swear that I would keep it absolutely secret and not tell anybody, and I've never told anybody. It's not there anymore, by the way. But he took me round, and I got the guided tour of Western Works. This massive big room with all these real, tapes, from reel to reel tape recorders, massive amounts of them. Then around the main studio, this massive desk. I can't remember what the desk was now, but it was a huge mixing desk. Trident. Is there a big desk called a Trident? All these synths, VCS3, AKS, all, you name it. He had this stuff up to a certain point, and then nothing modern. But that was a true honour and a privilege, and I've met him a number of times since. He'd come down to various things and bits and bobs. So, yeah. Well, on that note, that's one of the reasons, as I knew him and had, I'll say worked with him. It sounds grand, doesn't it? I had done stuff for him. It was really sad news on Tuesday when I heard that he passed away. That was one where I thought, oh, this is awful. So yeah, it was an honour. He was a very, very private man. He was a very sometimes very grumpy, but once you got past that, he was a delight to talk to, and I think he's going to be well missed. So anyway, I've had my say now. Yeah. Thanks, folks. Oh, yeah, some nice comments coming through. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It is a nice story. It's a beautiful story, actually, and I'm very, very honoured to have had that opportunity.
He wasn't always grumpy, though. I believe the grumpiness kind of grew through some of the frustrations with the giggings that he did over the years and the people that he had to put up with.
Truth was, he hated it. He hated gigging. He loved being in the studio, but hated gigging. So.
Yeah. So that's from what I understand. He wasn't it wasn't that old either. So he's quite young to pass, unfortunately. But yeah, another great pioneer of the world's electronic musicians has left us. This year's been a big one for that. I'm a bit saddened by all these good people going. If you're one of these pioneer electronic musicians, look after yourselves. Really, we love you, and come on the show. We'll talk to you. We'll pick your brains. Yeah, grumpy Yorkshireman.
Grumpy.
Yeah, exactly.
Behave, Robbie. Behave.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're being very naughty.
Fantastic. Now I'm going to change tactic a little bit here, and I mean, yes, a bit of a flat moment there with the news, but I mean, let's obviously celebrate.
We've got to celebrate the fact.
Let's celebrate
it because from the earliest to the latest, the music is all worth listening to. I mean, it's great. I mean, it'll not be everybody's cup of tea. I mean, some of the albums, particularly the late 70s, early 80s ones, are really quite difficult. You know,
very expensive.
2 times 45, Red Mecca, Voice of America. These they're quite hard work. Then you get into the 80s and things like Microphonies, Sensoria, and those tracks. And of course, the classic Nag Nag Nag. Everyone should go and listen to Nag Nag Nag.
Oh, yeah,
the things you can do with a ring modulator. Go and listen to Nag Nag Nag. It's ace.
Nag 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 was
amazing.
probably their most popular song, but it wasn't their biggest hit.
Nearest thing to a hit.
Yeah.
No. Yeah,
I think Sensoria.
Probably.
Yeah, that was their biggest hit, and I Want You was pretty big as well. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't think it'll be everyone's cup of tea. So if you haven't actually heard them, I don't think it'll be everyone's cup of tea. It's but give it a go. Give it a go. And when you're listening,
it's experimental.
When you listen to it,
it's
put yourself
hard listening.
Yeah, put yourself rewind the time machine back 35 years ago, and put yourself into have a conscious about what gear was around back then and what these guys were able to do, and then ask yourself why would Bernard from New Order say these guys are influential? Why would they be influential? And then ask yourself that while you're listening to it. I think that's a good way to approach it.
Go and listen to Synth Britannia, or watch Synth Britannia again if you can get it, because there's a really good bit at the beginning with Richard standing in sort of the centre of industrial Sheffield, down by the River Don and the canals, which is that's not where the studio was, by the way, but it's an interesting place for him to have done the filming. But the point was that they were surrounded in the 1970s by the sound of all the steelworks, the muck, the filth, the noise of it all. And that's why they made the music that they did. It makes absolute sense.
Yeah, it's very situational. It's very industrial, very raw, very very gritty and grubby at times. And that's kind of how you feel when you're listening to it. It's a really, how do I say it? It does give you quite an emotional reaction when you listen to some of their tracks. You really do react. And I think that was their plan all along. They want to, that's the whole shock and awe ability of them. And they do it well. So yeah, put your analytical brain on when you listen to it, that's for sure. Right, okay, changing tactics. Darren, you got some news for us. Did you want to, you said last week you were going to tell us some more about your stuff, or is it progressed, or are we going to skip that,
Is it my stuff? You caught me out there. What was I going to mention?
You said next week about your albums and stuff. You said you'll have some information next week, or have I jumped the gun?
No, I said soon. I didn't say next week. But while you're there, I might as well say well, while you're here, that live EP will be the first one out in October. So that'll be the first one out, and I might as well explain it now while we're here.
Mm-hmm.
That those 4 tracks there's more in it than meets the eye, because each track, each of the 4 tracks contains the track before it, if that makes sense, within that track, and then the first track contains itself within that track. Does that make sense? Basically, the ambience and everything from each track before is in the track. So this track will be in this track, and this track will be in this track, and this track will be in this track, and that will loop back round to this track.
So they're kind of blending.
But it'll be all very... Yeah, but basically what I've done is I've written the track, I've then time stretched it so the whole track is the ambience of the track following it.
Nice.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool.
Now, but that's stuff that people are not going to know. I just thought I'd mention that while I had it out. When you listen to it, you'll never know, but that's how it works.
Yeah.
Sasquatch wants to know if you do signed copies.
Yeah, signed copies.
Get some signed copies.
Hey, don't laugh, Darren. Don't laugh. I actually think people were being serious when they're asking that. Don't laugh.
Yeah. You'll sell at least 10. So that's 10 signatures you'll have to
exactly. Well, but it won't be available on CD.
Yeah.
This EP.
Even though you're showing
not yet
on CD.
Yeah, because that's my copy. That's my copy.
Just to sort of
I may
do,
if people like it and I do get interest, I may do a limited version because there's an actual the Endlessly track. I have a different version which I will put on a CD if it's worth doing, because Rand,
how are you going to
make
release
a
it?
CD
Darren?
now whether it's worth it. It will be on Bandcamp.
On Bandcamp, right? Yeah,
Right,
I think that makes it easy for everyone. It's a really good way of doing it.
It is.
Yeah.
I have to say though, Darren,
on.
if you can stretch yourself and whatever you need to, a bit of motivation from me, it is worth popping the CDs out. It is worth doing it. As you know, like when you got one from me, you could download those tracks from the internet. There's a different feeling when you get something physical. It's a different feeling.
Agreed.
Yeah.
See if you can stretch yourself.
That one, I'm hoping to make as a CD, because you'll have the first one, Ranz. As you sent me yours, this will be going to you.
Oh, you're a good man.
As soon as.
But don't put it.
Tracks on that bloody.
Don't use the same courier that the first one I sent you used, because that still hasn't even bloody arrived yet.
I was going to say that's
someone next to a mouldy cake, won't it?
No, I honestly think your neighbour's like picking stuff out of your mailbox or something. I don't know.
Well,
he's probably got this really lovely old lady that lives next door to him. I just dropped her in the poo.
Oh, look at this. I've actually ordered some, and we've ordered something. It's nothing to do with music, to be honest. And it was supposed to be here on Friday, and then we got an email saying it was tempted to be delivered and gone back to the post office, and we were like, no, it's not. We've been sat here.
I've got them.
To 6 or something.
Oh, that happens too often.
So, and we've not been carded, so God knows where that is.
Yeah. Couriers are the bane of existence right now. Okay.
Hey, Darren, who's this Ranzee bloke? I got this thing from somebody called Ranzee. What is it? Make a nice map for me teacup. Sorry, it's very, very silly.
That's a picture of a
I mean, who asked? Here's a question then. Does anybody have a CD player now?
Yes.
Actual CD player that they use to listen to music on?
I've got
I
two
don't
of
mean
them.
one in the background.
I've got two of them. I've got a Technics and I've got a Pioneer. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
I've got a Technics. Mazzarata.
Okay, the Technics one. Actually, I've got more.
Marantz.
I've got more than that, but I've actually got a Sony Walkman CD player as well. I forgot about that. But the Technics one, I've told you guys about it before. It's the first one that they ever brought out, and so as a result of that, it doesn't play all the CDs, because as CDs progressed in their abilities over the years that they were active, they got more complex, and it causes the original CD players to crash.
Early ones don't play very well, do they? Yeah.
No, you can't play burnt ones or things like that. Yeah, Eddie, yep.
As my new computer doesn't have a CD DVD drive, and I've got some stuff on CD of mine and Chili's people's and other people that I want to get onto my computer. I have no idea how to do it other than going through the analog interface, and it's really frustrating. Well, actually, Chili's people did a remix of a Richard H. Kirk track.
Ranzee's probably going to show you.
It was released on like a fanzine CD. So I've got that CD, and I want to get this track off it because I was going to send it to you, Ranz. I was going to send it to Jim Glue, a remix of "The Number of Magic" by Richard Kirk. And I'm trying to work out how I'm going to do it without just doing it the old-fashioned analog method.
Yeah. Just get a USB CD drive like he's showing you.
USB CD drive.
Yeah, and they'll work just off you. Just power it off. They're only about $50. About
all right, okay,
£30
now.
Yeah. Andy, it's actually funny that you asked that. Because we're mucking around with all the stuff in the house, and I found an old PC lying in a cupboard, and obviously there's bits and pieces in there, but I thought I'd pull this baby out.
I just pulled it out,
and it's quite old. It's like IDE. So that's old technology. But I just thought this thing's going to be worth use in the future.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Yeah, I've actually got a dead PC, so I could probably pull the same sort of thing out if I had a look at it. But how would you then use something like that alongside like a modern PC? How would you power it? Or is it just
I'm not going to go grab
it in?
Not going to go grab it now, but I've got a connector that is an IDE to USB adapter, and so it's got the Molex.
So you can do that. Right.
It's got a Molex power, and it's got an IDE ribbon cable that goes into it, and then that converts it into USB, and then you just plug it in.
Yeah.
And it could just sit
on it might just be cheap to buy USB one.
Yeah. But I'm just saying.
Exactly, it might be.
But I'm just saying.
Cable. So thanks, Ken.
Some of those slimline ones, like the one Darren showed you, don't have the same gear that's in the fatter ones. So you got to kind of, think about what they can handle. Some of them aren't fast enough. Some of them are slower. There's a whole bunch of things. CD technology, DVD technology, all that, has all changed anyway. It's optical stuff is going out. So if you can manage to hold on, hoard a little bit of that stuff, because soon that will be a little bit like the vinyl world is now. You're experiencing now. True. Everyone's doing a vinyl rush. Isn't it? Yeah. So just have the future thought.
It'll come back.
Yep. Hold on to your DVDs and your CDs. That's what I'd say. Anyway.
Oh, God, yeah. You've always got to keep your hard copies of everything.
Yeah.
I agree.
What was going to go with next? Okay, so how long have we been streaming for? An hour and a half. Cool. So, yes. Now, I've got a little conundrum. So, Darren, as you know, I've been trying to finish off my album. And I've come to the point where this last track that I've been doing is actually the one that I sent you the stems on ages ago, probably over a year ago now, Darren. And it's that was called Gate 1, I think I called it back then.
Gate 1.
Yeah. And what I'm thinking of doing with that is every single time I go to finish that track, it spawns another track, but it's similar. And when that happens, it's kind of like, none of them are bad or anything like that, but what happens is you kind of feel like, I'm never going to finish this because I keep changing my mind about what this track's going to be. But what I thought I might do, I just had this little epiphany where I thought, hang on, why did I just make the whole album Gate 1 and just have part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, literally just lay them all out as a separate album, and then I can snap this other album off. I don't have to let this other one drag it on. So what I basically have just decided to do that today. So Gate 1 won't be on the new album. It'll be on its own, whether it's an EP or whatever it's called. And what I want to do is, I think I've shared this with you guys before, but I'll just show you a little bit of a sneak peek. This is what the album art is going to look like for the new album, which I already did like ages ago. This has been ready to go for ages. Sorry, just waiting for this to open up. There we go. And watch vMix crash again. No, it won't crash. There's the album art for the new album. It's called Significant Bit. Bit of mucking around there with breadboards and cassettes and a bit of play on word. Yeah, so that's the new album. I will start the process of, I'm pretty sure most of the tracks have been mastered to my liking. I might get someone to double check just to see if it's kind of what they like. But other than that, I think it's pretty much ready to go. I might start printing out some CD covers and we'll start getting that rolling too. So for you guys who are out there, you're going to have some music to listen to. You're going to have Darren's stuff and you'll have mine. I'll start putting it up on Bandcamp and things like that pretty soon. But yeah, hopefully that's exciting. There's going to be a lot of tracks on there. If you follow my music, you would have heard them before. But there will be some new ones that you haven't heard on there. And all my Patreons will get free copies of the original master WAV files that I send off to, places like DistroKid and things like that. You'll get the same copy of that. So, yeah, it's a bit of a Jean-Michel Jarre trick, but it's not just Jean-Michel Jarre that did it. Like Pink Floyd did it. Heaps of people did. Even Genesis did it. Part 1s, part 2s. Stuff like that.
Well, then that's so funny because you watched my last video, didn't you, Rans? Reach Out, which was Reach Out Part 1, because I had the similar thing to you as
as
how
with
do I
Gate
make
1.
this into an album? So the album is going to be Reach Out Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, so on.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's just like you can't get round that sort of like, it doesn't seem to blend in all your different versions of it to the album that you're writing. So why not just make that an entire album itself?
it's kind of a shame, but like this was the graphic that I came up for the Gate 1 song. So that's a photo of an airport. Obviously, that's a gate lounge exit, and bit of Behringer Euro-rack modules all the way down the wall there on the side. I just had a bit of fun in Photoshop.
That was my remix there, because Gate 1, Terminal 1 was the
Terminal
remix.
1.
So yeah,
it was. Yeah, so that may be the album cover. I don't know yet of the Gate 1. I don't know. We'll see. We'll get that. That's going to be very premature. So because I've probably only got 3 parts to it done now.
And you might change those 3 parts if you like me.
Probably.
Because what happens is that album starts becoming the Gate 1 album, and as you're writing the tracks for Gate 1, you write a track that's not quite the same, but it fits in the album. And then you think, oh, what I'll do is I'm going to scrap that and have it as an album completely. Nothing to do with the Part 1, Part 2, Part 3.
What I thought I'd do, when I first wrote that track, I thought I'd make it into some sort of COVID experience. And I'm kind of thinking what's made that hard is because that's evolving as we speak, like under our feet. It's always changing, and it's like everyone in this world is going through a COVID experience of some degree. So I'm kind of thinking like, why am I doing a COVID? Everyone, it's like sort of saying, hey, don't forget to breathe in and breathe out. It's like, it's not anything special. It's not the right word, but you know what I mean? Like it's something that we all share in our own personal way. But for me to write about it, it's not anything sort of groundbreaking, if that makes sense. So one of the parts will be a COVID sort of experience, but it'll be more to do with nothing that I've personally experienced, but more to do with what I feel bad about that happens in the world to some places that have got certain regimes of countries that why they treat people. So that's kind of where I'm going to go with that. I kind of want to tell a story about that. Where people have been forced to do things that really is questionable amongst the human rights issues. And I kind of feel like that's a story that needs to be told because a lot of this stuff just gets forgotten about. There's so much information going on that we're just bombarded with on a daily basis. I really feel sometimes you've got to put a pin in stuff that happens and say, wait, don't forget about this. This is actually pretty important. We need to write about that. And people will go back in the future and go, oh yeah, that's right.
A big thanks to Simon and Wagyu, by the way.
Oh yes, sorry, I did miss that. Big thanks to Simon Fenn for the €5 schmackers. We'll put that on the fridge with the fridge magnets. And Wagyu for what did Wagyu do? He did 5 British pounds. British. Big hello to anyone who's joined us in the last couple of minutes. I think ALM jumped in lately. Yes, I didn't say g'day to all the chatties like I normally do today. See how I'm rattled with just the house getting cleaned and painted, and God, it really just rocks your world. You can't get any stuff done. I've been lifting furniture basically all the last 3 or 4 days, and I'm absolutely physically knackered. But luckily, doing this show, I'm just sitting on the chair. It's no physical work, it's just mental work. And then the freaking vMix crashes twice, and it's just, can't get any better, can it? But yeah, what can we do? In terms of topic this week, I didn't set one. And I didn't set one because I just really didn't have time to plan anything, as you can understand. But I think, it's good to not set a topic sometimes. I kind of feel that if I do set a topic, it scares people away from the show. Like, oh, I don't want to watch the show on Eurorack. Or I don't want to watch a show on...
Oh, thanks, Kent.
Oh, wow. Big 10-pounder from Get a New Route. Thanks, Kent. You're a shocker. Beautiful. But yeah, I don't know what you guys think in chat. If we set topics beforehand, Does that scare some of you away? Like, oh, I don't know if I want to sit through a friggin' show on guitar synths. That's a good one.
I think when you no, I think setting topics is good, but like you say, maybe not everyone at every show, because then some people just like to have a just chat about music, just general, like we are at the moment. Actually, just generally yabbering.
We do, yeah.
And then obviously we have the certain topics then, and obviously some people might say I'm not really interested in such and such, but all our good people who are on every day. I don't think it matters what topic we've got.
Sasquatch thinks I should just avoid.
We could have a topic on Pile of Armor.
Sasquatch wants me to avoid Eurorack. Might be a bit late for that. But yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. I think...
Right, no avoiding that, Sasquatch. I'm sorry. No. It is integral.
Don't take the plunge yet. Ah, dear. Marcus in chat actually said, what did we find more interesting from Super Booth this year? And I've got a couple of things I wouldn't mind saying to that. So it's a good question. Well, Darren, did you find anything specifically interesting from Super Booth this year?
Yes. Considering I'm trying not to buy any more kit because I've decided that you need to use what you've got. It's not what you've got, it's the sort of music at the end of the day. So basically, if I've just sat here with one computer and nothing else, as long as what comes out of the computer is really good and everybody likes it and I like it, then it doesn't matter whether I've got a mixing desk or a Yamaha AM1X. It doesn't matter. So I'm not specifically buying anything, but I did like the Dreadbox. Synth, the 7 LFOs that you can, I liked that. If I was tempted, that'd be something I'd be tempted. Also the Hydra Synth, the Explorer, that's like, that's on a sort of hit list that I'm not supposed to use and get. What else was there? Was something else? I can't think what it was. There was quite a few things now. I'm trying to remember what they were. But those two for definite.
I'll have to tell you, Darren, we've got some good company with Hydrosynth. So if you do want anything Hydrosynth wise, you know who to ask in that respect. So I probably in agreement with you with the two things that you mentioned. I really do like both of those. Now I think Andy's wants to show something. Andy?
No, I'm not showing anything. No, just
nothing to see here.
Highlighting the word integral. From Super Booth, of the things I've seen, I'm going to go with Kent's Osmosa and the Hydrosynth Deluxe. Yeah, because I have to have a big one. And the other thing that really made my eyes.
No, he hasn't got a big one, Darren.
I didn't say that.
He hasn't got one. That's what he's saying.
Now.
No, but the other thing that made it's like having a Ferrari.
Yeah. I've got a Kia Picanto.
But I will give you this, Andy. You can play it, so.
Well, there you go. Thank you. And the other thing that really made me sort of my eyes go, whoa, yes, was the Tip Top Buchla stuff. Absolutely. Yeah, I think I might be able to squeeze some of that into this box here, so whatever. Yeah. So there we are. So that was me. And there was loads and loads and loads of Eurorack stuff that made me just go. Yeah,
yes, I did like the Waldorf.
But I think the
sound of the Waldorf was nice.
For me, that those Tip Top, the new Tip Top effects processors. We talked about those last week, didn't we? Definitely those, and the Tip Top Buchla stuff. Of course, there's Buchla's own new stuff. They had the new versions. Mark Doty was there showing that. I really like that sort of thing. I know people think, I love it. I think it's great. Anything that sounds really sort of old-fashioned and wonderful. And just, that's me. Yeah, saying.
And nothing to see there about Eurorack at all, of course.
What Eurorack?
Yeah.
What's Eurorack? Sorry, what? Don't get it. Yeah. No. I just don't get Eurorack.
That's my IBM 350 behind me there. That's the IBM.
Exactly.
I showed that last week.
Yeah, this is only 320 that I've got here. I'm afraid. I couldn't afford the casters.
You didn't want the mobile version. can see
Yeah,
Andy.
yeah, I did.
Andy's pushing it down the street.
I have to just leave it set up in one place. So, but I've got a skateboard that I put underneath it, and if I need to move it a few feet,
Skateboard. Oh my god. Dearie me.
And I should all say the osmosis, the keyboard from Touche.
yeah. Well, I said that one.
That's-
Most of that. You got
He
that.
did, yeah.
That's almost yummy.
Right,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I kind of feel like, I mean, that's all
Can I
good.
put this down now because it's digging into unnecessary bits?
Yeah.
That funny
No, you've got
stand
to
thing
keep
like
that
that,
for the
which
rest
I
of
really
the
should have. I really should have put that stand flat, shouldn't I? Before I stuck it on my lap.
Yeah.
Thank you. That.
Yes. I mean, if you had
I
a
had to keep my left arm at a right angle for
Andy, if you had a Volca there, you would have been fine. I was just going to say
they're in the living room. Everything's been taken out, so they're on the settee right now. Sorry, the sofa.
with the Osmos, there's a lot of talk about it, and yes, a lot of development has gone into it. But I kind of feel like it's taken a long time. I understand there's probably a long time needed to get something developed like it has, and some of the decisions they've made recently have been actually really good ones. So I'm glad that they've decided to put the synth engine in it, and I'm glad they went with who they went for the synth engine. So all of that is all ticks in the box. But I just kind of feel it's like I'm getting to the point. It's a bit like the Akai Force firmware update. It's like, can we actually have it now, please? It's kind of that. It's at that point. It's one of those things. Can we actually have it? That'd be good. I want to play one.
I get your point there, but having the Touche, I can sort of appreciate how it will be because the Touche is built beautifully. It feels great. It's great to use, or is in my view anyway. So I can only imagine what the keyboard will be like, having all those keys as a Touche, basically. I mean, I can see why it's probably taking a little bit of time, but like you say, you've shown it. Can we now have it?
Yeah, it's a bit like when certain synth companies announce stuff, and then 3 years later, we are still waiting for it. Lots of comments in the chat. Yeah, nothing affordable was presented for Euro. Okay, I don't know if it. I thought those tip-top ones were pretty affordable. And I definitely, I would
The
definitely.
Buchla ones
Well, I was
are a
going
lot
to say
cheaper than Buchla.
I was going to say that, Andy. I was going to say the tip-top Buchla, yes, definitely cheaper than Buchla, but those two tip-top effects modules were actually quite cheap. I thought.
Yeah, I mean they're about 160, 170 quid here.
Yeah.
For the Z5000 Z-Verb Echoes. So if they're in the same price range, which I assume they will be.
What I want to, I'm actually gassing for the ALM sample module at the moment because I really love the idea of the multiple outs and the multiple controls of different samples. I really love the idea of that. And right now, because I'm in that world of gating stuff with my Varigate. I'm just really loving the whole gate thing at the moment.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I got the what do you call it again? That drum module that I got, the Basimilius iteratus. The Basimilus, yes. I never ever pronounce things right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of all along that line. That's kind of where I'm going at the moment.
Speaking of ALM, is the ALM who's in the chat the same as ALM Busy Circuits, the people that produce the Pamelas and those other bits and bobsies? Or is it just somebody who happens to have the initials ALM? Let us know in the chat, would you, fella? Or miss?
Oh, I miss? No, it's a different person, I believe.
All right.
No.
I said, no, Andy. Okay, cheers, Matt. I just wondered. Just curious.
I want to bring this up because I'm just interested to see if anyone has actually got one of these how do you spell it? Sample. I think it's SAL.
The squid sal. Yeah, the squids. Is it the squid salmpool?
Salampool. Squid Salampool. I loved how Ben DivKid did the video on that and pronounced it. I thought it was so funny how he does that. Let me see if I can get a photo of this, guys, for you guys. This might actually affect the stream. I forgot about that because I'm streaming on this right now, and no.
Be careful, Rants.
Yeah, I'm doing the same internet thing. God help me.
Oh, we've frozen.
Have we?
Why have we frozen?
Have we?
Or is it just mine? Right, mate, I'll tell you.
I can see the chat room still ticking through.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's going. It's just for some reason my computer's.
All I've got is the chat room now. I've not got anybody else. Ranzee, are you showing something other than the chat room?
No, I'm showing the chat room right now. Sorry.
No, it's fine, Andy.
Right, okay.
It's just my computer had paused for some reason.
I had to do a screen capture because it was a GIF, and I don't know if GIFs work. Sorry. This never ever works doing live streaming when you're trying to show things. Hope it doesn't crash. There we go. That's what it looks like. If you're wondering what it looks like, it's a big module, but
eight triggers.
The 8 triggers and the 8 outs is actually huge because you can actually it's got multiple channels, of course. You can see the channel program in there. And it's easy to load samples into it. That's one of the other things that I liked about it. It's actually very, very quick and easy to load samples in. It's got 3 assignable CVs as well. And plus you've also got some volts per octave, things for certain channels as well. So yeah, and it's got envelopes and low pass gates and all sorts of cool stuff in there. It can get deep, but just on a really, really basic level. Load the thing up with 8 samples and spit them out, and then just plug a whole bunch of gates into that thing and just go crazy. That's kind of that's power. And yes, I've got a million samplers here already. That's not the point. This thing is more just get it ready, and it's more of a performance sort of unit. I really like the ALM stuff. It's really good. Anyway, anyone in chat got one? Who's got one in chat? I thought Mac might have had one, but I don't know if Mac's a sample sort of guy though.
No, I don't know. Are they out stereo? Well, they're paired, aren't they? They're 1 and 2, 3 and 4, so I assume they're for stereo samples.
You can. So you can make it left and right, and that means that you're halving the amount of samples or channels. That I just showed it, Mac. Got a what? Sorry, is he not watching? We'll just play the whole show again just for Mac. No, the ALM squid sample. I'm kind of guessing for that at the moment. I don't know how long it'll be before I get it.
Is someone asking a question there, ASDI, about the Arturia 3-unit rack or Nifty case is better? For God's sake.
Adsy Fatsy.
Right.
Adsy Fassy wants us to answer that question. All right, let's answer it. Okay, so Darren, you've got a Nifty case. I've got a Nifty case.
I've got a Nifty case.
But I also have
I
two.
Arturia, though.
And I also have 2 Arturia rack roots, but these are the 6U, okay? So the difference between, let's just show the differences between them, right? The difference between the 3U Arturia rack root and the Create Audio Nifty case is the Nifty case has built-in MIDI, USB MIDI and in MIDI. It has the CV pitch and gate ×2 and an audio out built into the top of it. Some of that is a little bit questionable how good and useful that is, but it does have that. So that's actually like, that's a module that you don't need, or a couple of modules that you don't need. So there's that out of the way. The power supply is built into the top of it. So I'll grab the Nifty case and you can have a look in a sec. On the Arturia...
Shall I grab the Go case again? I will.
You can grab the Go case. Let's grab the Nifty case. On the Arturia...
Case, yeah. Oh, you've got it. We've all got a Nifty case.
So
mine's empty at the moment.
So as you can see on the Nifty case, all of that stuff that I just talked about is across the top. It doesn't actually take up any HP. And then you got your connectivity on the top, or the back if you want to call that, and it's got some nice feet. It's not the most powerful case in terms of power, but power is probably similar to the Arturia rack root. So when you're thinking about it, if that's all you're going to have, I would probably, this is my opinion, I would probably go for the Nifty case because you're getting a little bit more usable features out of it. And Andy wants to show the Behringer Go case.
Well,
You just
as you know, I went.
He just likes putting it on his knee.
He just likes to poke himself in the guts.
I do. It's not on my knee right now. I've actually pulled the little drawer out from under this table. I went through all of this.
Playing that on the park bench.
To go for. Thank you, Darren. And I looked at the Nifty case, and my basic conclusion was it was just too small for me at that point. I knew I was going to fill things up pretty quickly. So I was very interested in the 6U Arturia. But eventually, for me, in terms of the amount of HP, as in the amount of space that you've got, compared to cost, the Go case won hands down. Because what you've got is not 104, but 140. So what you've got is 280 HP, all powered. Now, you don't have the ins and the outs and the MIDI that you do on the little Nifty case. But I just thought that was an extremely good way to go. So if you're intending to fill it up pretty quickly, if you're going to get modules from a module, so now this is basically full. There's a gap here and there's a little gap down at the bottom. Now I'm going to buy another one of these fairly soon, and I intend to put basically take this sequencer out, the sequencer out which is down there, and put the Model D and the Pro 1 into the new case. So that will free up again a load of space in here, so that it will grow. But that will be a nice system. Now, Behringer have released or are about to release brackets so you can fit them together. So it'll create a nice system that way. And I think that's what works for me. Now, it won't work for everybody. You might decide that you don't want to do that. But this was the one that seemed to suit my needs, and I'm actually very happy with it because it's not heavy. You can pick it up. You can move. Well, say it's not heavy. It's pick it up, move it about and stuff. So
yeah,
there we are. That was my take on cases.
He may be asking specifically for the 3U for a space reason. I just wanted to quickly show you while we're talking about the Arturia rack roots, that if you do get the 3U, it's got this power module here on the left hand side. I don't know if you can see, it's not a very good video. I'll move my hand out the way. So this on the left hand side, this can be moved to the left or right or the middle. This can be moved around, but this is the actual power module itself. So that does take up part of your HP, which is, some people say is a negative. I don't know, it's never really worried me, to be honest. I actually do like the fact that it's there and you can just turn your rack off. But like I said before, the whole point of the Nifty case is that, Darren, have you still got it in your hand there, or you put it down? Because yours is empty, right?
What, the Nifty case? I'm not on the park bench. I can get it if you want.
Yeah, grab it. Because yours is empty, because I just wanted to show you.
Mine's empty.
Yeah, what it looks like inside. See how it's got the ribbon cable inside? That's a flexible cable. And that's actually quite handy because that's not like a bus board that's rigid in the back of it. You can move it to the
Someone
top
was asking if it was made by, I think.
Create Audio.
There you go.
Yeah, I did say that before.
I think if you're buying a modular case for in the studio or in your in your studio, and it's not going to be mobile or anything, then I think it's really the biggest case you can afford, really, because if you've got into modular, whatever small case you get is never going to be big enough.
Yeah, this is what Andy was saying too. Like the bang for the buck with the Behringer Go case is probably going to win there. But if he literally wants just the 3U form factor, I would say the Nifty case is.
Well, yeah, if I that'd be cool because you could have a little modular system to take out with you as well, just to go anywhere basically. So this is what this will be now. This is just going to be a little modular case to have, even if you was on holiday somewhere, I could take a few modules with you. It's not too big.
You can power that off one of these battery units as well.
Exactly.
I've proven that before. Yeah. A
computer and a little modular case, brilliant.
I'm going to run out of battery on the microphone soon, guys, so I'm going to probably have to close the show in a sec. So, and I am getting warnings again on YouTube. How long have we been streaming for? 2 hours. Okay, yeah, that's good.
That one.
That's a good time. Quick,
coming up for 2 hours.
before the battery runs out on the mic, I do have a backup mic, so it's okay. So I guess I think it's, Adsy Fazzy, if you're still there in the chat, give us some feedback on what we've just told you. Thanks a lot, guys. So Nifty is the way to go. Okay, for a beginner. Yeah, okay, so we've got a question for you. Is the 3U choice of yours purely because you're a beginner and you're sort of scared to go any bigger, and you're worried that if you do go bigger, then you're going to have the need to fill the holes? Like if you go with the Behringer Go case, there's 2 rows, 6U. Is that why you're going to restrict yourself that way? Because I don't know, I kind of feel that that's actually not a bad way to go if you feel that you will never ever need it for anything sort of major. But if you do feel that there's definitely a love brewing in you for Euro, I wouldn't restrict myself to a 3U. If you know that you definitely are going to get bigger, then I wouldn't recommend the 2 3U cases over getting something bigger, like Andy said. Maybe start with the Behringer one. Watch this space too, because I'm going to be building a DIY case. Literally, I'm going to start doing that next week. So all ready to rock and roll, just waiting for the studio move to happen, because that's going to be part of the new studio move. All exciting stuff. Yeah, so answer that question for us, Adsy Farsi. Is it Adsy Farsi? I reckon it is.
From the Carpathian Mountains, as he likes to tell us.
Yeah.
A very lovely place it is too, by all accounts. I had a good look at what they were like. I went onto Google and had a good look. Very lovely place he lives.
Yeah. It's good, let's call this the Brains Trust, not just us here like Andy, me and Darren. There's also a wealth of brains in that chat room just below you. Like seriously, if you were a beginner and you joined this show, the amount of people in that chat room with the knowledge that they've got would be worth its weight in gold. Honestly, there's some really, really knowledgeable people in this chat room. And
let's face it, we just ramble around showing things.
I know, it just humbles me that they're actually even listening to me. What is this Australian idiot talking about this week? No, so can you afford to fill a big case, Future World Machines asked me. Well, I've already got 2 6U rack brutes, plus a Behringer Go, plus everything that's in the Nifty case, plus I've also got modules sitting over there, plus I just got the Behringer 960 sequencer. I'd say I'm good for filling up 2 big cases. I'd say that's pretty... There's still going to be a few blanks, but yeah. The 2 DIY, I'm going to be doing 2 DIY 104 HP with 5 tiers, so 5 times 3, 15U it'll be. Okay? Just keeping an eye on the battery on this thing. Yeah, so 104 HP. The reason why it's 104 HP is purely because I don't want to be doing one big wide case. I actually wanted to do, instead of one big 200 and something wide case, I'm just going to do 2 100 wide cases. And the point there is that if I ever need to split them up, I can, or if I just wanted to sell one of them and just keep one, I've got that. And also because that fits beautifully on these 1.2 meter desks that I've got, which are just your standard desks that you get from IKEA, which I think they're really good for like home studio setups. They're cheap, they're easy to put together, and they're a good size. So that's kind of the reason why I chose that. It's a bit of ergonomics and a bit of future proofing and things like that. Yeah, all ready to rock and roll. I've got all the bits sitting over there. I've got bus boards, I've got power supplies, the wood's rocked up. We're good to go. Just let the battery go till it dies. Yeah, look at where Go's telling me what to do. I'm happy to do that. I've got my mic over here. Look, there you go. You can actually see it. There it is. I've got spare mic here if we run out of time. We're good. 10:43 in the night here, so it's not that late. I can handle it. Okay, so what did Adsy Fadsy say? What was the answer to our question? Gas will never stop you. Gas will never stop, you reckon, say? So he's basically saying yes, that's the reason. He's worried about gas. Which is...
Yeah, but My Go case sat empty. Then it had one filter module in it that Jamie from GeoSynth sent me. Then I bought the 960 and the Model D and put those in. And then I bought another few little bits. And it all built gradually, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. And there was never a huge major outlay all at once. I mean, when you take a step back after a while and go and add it all up, then you sort of go, ooh. Right. So I've spent £2,000. Have I really? Blimey, gosh! But it's never all. It was never all at once. So that's why at no point does it seem like it's been a huge major outlay. So that it's worked for me, and it will continue. I'm going to just go back a little bit as I'm going, because I can't afford to rush out and spend £2,000 all at once. I haven't got it.
Yeah, I like it. I think you've got to be kind of into that sort of thing. But I like the ability for you to sort of go, right, here's a module that this is going to affect my music in this particular way. This is going to either add something or this is going to change something or whatever the module's purpose is. And then that actually doesn't necessarily have to be the same brand as all the other modules you've got. It can literally just be a whole bunch of different brands, mix and match. I mean, I was saying before, I've got, just in this case here, if you're just looking at this case here, we've got two, what do you call it? Mutable instrument clones by CowSynth, bigger load of CowSynth in the US. I've got two Picos, which are Erica synths. I've got a 2HP. I've got two Moleco modules there. I've got a Magneto by Strymon. I've got a Roland module. I've got a Make Noise Mass. I've got a Dopefer clock divider. I've got Pamela's new workout and a little extender from ALM. And then on the right-hand side is the Clavis Cowtrans, which is a tuner. And, you know, if you look at all the other modules I've got all sorts of different brands. Yeah. You know, it doesn't have to be the same brand. It can be all mixed and matched.
And there's also a very important question here, or a very important thing to note, that you could get a case and put modules in it and then decide that you don't actually like modular because it doesn't work for you, or you don't like, or you can't get it to work because it's something it just doesn't work for. In which case, if you've gone and bought a huge case and you're trying to fill it, you won't want to do that. So, and I think he's just come in the chat and said that he, where is it? You'll have to go up a bit, Vans. Scroll up. I think he said, where is it? Yeah, he only has the money for a nifty case and some Dreadbox modules. That's the reason. So
it's a good way to go.
I mean, you can always sell. Really well. You can always sell the case, anyways. Yeah, exactly. Right. You can get all the Dreadbox modules, I think, in the case, and then you can find out whether you really like it or not. Because, like I say, you may end up deciding that you don't like modular. It's just not where you're at, because. Especially if you're learning.
That's for Kent.
Well, even if you're not.
That's right.
That's my tiny little duster. Yes, it's called a shaving brush.
I got one too.
But
it's a really good tip, that runs.
For the big boys, we get the paintbrush out. That's it.
Yeah, that's because you're having to paint the house.
Yeah, but this is really good for like.
Yeah, but don't really let the painters anywhere near that. They'll have brush envy.
Yeah, no, this is horsehair. You know, plenty of horses were...
I can get the big garden brush out.
I'm going to go there. People will be throwing their sets.
That's for sweeping the park bench.
Got a nice feather duster down the corridor.
I think you know, Adsy's got some really good questions. Like, if you're just starting out in Euro8, we've done a couple of shows now already where we've talked about Euro8. Go look back in the history of all the live shows we've done and look for the Eurorack. For beginners ones, we had Berg on there, who's really good guy from Sweden. He's really good musician, and he uses Eurorack in all of his sons in his songs, in his tracks. I did a live show a few months ago where I actually just did the Nifty case. Do you guys remember where I wanted to configure something really basic, but it was a bit quirky, and you know, showcased a whole bunch of modules in that. And how you can set that up. So it just what it shows you is that you just make it yours. Make it yours. Go with the advice, yes, but make it yours. Get it to do what you want it to do. Have a plan. Like, is it going to be making sounds? Is it going to be modulating your synths that you've got? Is it going to be glitching things up? Is it going to be effects? Or is it going to be doing a bit of each? Like, make it yours. That's the most important thing. I'm sorry, I'm just reading the chat. Everyone was laughing at the brush. Yes. There you go. Beautiful. Wagoo said, just pulled a call that a brush. This is a brush. That's a what is that? Crocodile Dundee. Yeah. What's his name?
Paul Hogan.
Paul Hogan. Yeah, Paul Hogan. He's still around too. He's still cooking.
Get me on your pub quiz team. You know you need me.
He's
got
made
a head stuffed full of useless knowledge. Stuff that counts.
In Australia, he used to do a TV show before he did that movie, which was a comedy show, and he had a guy with him his character was called Strop, and he was the guy that wore the life-saving cap from the 1970s, 80s era, and lifesavers in Australia are those guys that rescue you from drowning in the beaches, quite well known. If you watch a lot of the TV, you probably would have heard of a show called like Bondi Rescue or something like that. Anyway, he recently died, and that guy his character was like so like stupid and like dumb, and that's how he played. But the guy in real life was an absolute genius, and he was the producer of so many TV shows, and he was like a really like high up TV executive in Australia. And unfortunately, he just recently died, which is actually quite sad. But he didn't die of anything like COVID or anything. He just died of old age because he's getting on a bit. But yeah, it was a bit of a.
Paul Hogan was known over here as a comedian before those films. You know, he was actually pretty well known. Yeah.
I honestly, I do have to get some more Aussies on this show because there's some really cool things that we get up to down in this weird prison island that we've got down here. We're all convicts apparently, but
Well,
200 years ago.
I keep saying it. I mean, it would be really great. I know he'd probably have to stay up late, but it'd be great if you could get Gary P. Hayes to come on because he's just been doing some amazing stuff. I don't know where. I think he's the other side of Australia from you, but you know he's been doing some great stuff.
I think he's in Melbourne.
Right.
They're going through. Look, I'll tell you a little bit about what's happening in Australia right now. So they're still.
Melbourne's had a tough time, hasn't it?
They're still mucking around with this whole lockdown business, and they're still waiting for people to vaccinate. There's people have been rioting and going in the streets and protesting about human rights, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going bad in Melbourne at the moment. And not only that, but they also had an earthquake recently. I don't know if anyone died, so that's good. But there was a pretty bad sort of thing. And then to top it off, they're an absolute football in terms of Australian rules football. And this is not football that you guys know it as the round ball football. This is the oval ball football here. And they have this wonderful thing called a grand final every year that's held at this wonderful ground called the MCG. And they weren't allowed to have it there this year because there was no crowds allowed. They were all in lockdown. So they moved it over to my city and they literally played that here tonight. And two teams that played in it were both Melbourne teams. It's a national competition and they're both Melbourne teams. So that would have been hard for them. So I do have a lot of sympathy for people over in Victoria. And so shout out to you guys in Vic. Hope you're doing okay. But, you know, I just wish, you know, I'm big about human rights. I wish governments would sort out this COVID stuff a little bit better. I think it's here to stay, unfortunately. And I think we just need to learn to deal with it a bit better. Locking people down is probably not a good way to go, if I'm being honest. I don't really think that's going to save us. I think you guys tried that in the UK and it just didn't work.
Yeah, and it didn't work. No, it didn't.
So.
Well, hey, it's, you know, we've hopefully reached pretty much capacity vaccination now. It's been offered to the youngest of the younger teenagers, and hopefully it will just mean that we can just get on and get back to normal. It is seemingly getting back to pretty much normal, but
Well, unless they scaremonger
we've just got
about not
limit.
fuel and God knows what.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
different issues, Darren, isn't it? It's all coming to a head. Oh, do you know, the queues at petrol stations is ridiculous. There wasn't a shortage of fuel, but now there will be because idiots have gone out and filled their cars up when they didn't need to. Makes me bloody angry. Unless I'm picking up a new car on Monday night, I'm going to have to try and squeeze
I get the
mine
same
out.
thing. We've got the
Squeeze
same
mine
thing
out.
here. We've got the same thing here. We've got petrol prices going through the roof at the moment. So I do think it's to do with definitely to do with the what do you call it, the I can't remember the OPG or whatever it's called. OPEC or something. Anyway, we stupidly in this country literally store all of our petrol in Singapore. like I don't know, some idiot in the 1980s decided, okay, we're not going to store petrol in Australia. We're not going to stockpile like reserve. We do have some reserves. It's not like completely zero, but we do have some reserve fuel here. But most of it is literally stored in Singapore. And when we buy our fuel, we buy it from Singapore, which is absolutely stupid. It's because every single time we buy fuel, there's an exchange rate that happens every single time. And it's just crazy. So right now we've got the same thing. We've got people queuing up on Mondays because Mondays are cheap. We've got this thing called Fuel Watch where they try and control the fuel price cycle each week, and Mondays are the cheap day, and going sort of towards the end of the week.
Sorry, just read what Dom's written, what Mr. Wiggly's written about. He's run out of plastic bins, so he's got nothing left to fill up with petrol. You daft lad. It's all your fault, Mr. Wiggly. It's all your fault. I can't get petrol here in Sheffield because you bought it all in Brighton.
Dom said a cracker of a joke on my thing that I was mucking around with on Facebook today. I was mucking around with this. I was just having a bit of a laugh with this puzzle thing that everyone does, where it's find the letter M and there's all these W's everywhere. And he said, "You've got it upside down." I thought it was brilliant.
Well done.
Well,
not Mr. Wiggly, it's Mr. Wagley, isn't it?
Is solar a realistic option in the UK? Well, no, because even the wind isn't, because they were saying we haven't had enough wind this year.
That's also true.
But Darren, there's plenty of wind at Parliament House, though. That's for sure. They should put a wind farm just out the side of that place.
That'll do the country for the
year. Yeah, be enough methane gas and everything. Yes. Homestuck people. Yeah, I really feel sorry for them. People stuck at home, they can't go to work. They're not allowed out. They're just restricted. And it's just, I think it's not the answer. It really isn't. I think people need to learn how to deal with the other things, social distancing, wearing a mask, all that. Just comply with it because it's probably your best bet. And then vaccinate if you can. If you're against it, then don't. It's up to you. It's your life. It's your heart. It's your body. Do what you want. But yeah. I mean, I got 2 jabs. And now they're talking about getting the third. I got Pfizer, if you're wondering. And we had a choice in my country where you could get Pfizer or you could get AstraZeneca. And because I'm bordering on the older sort of part of life, I could wait and I could have got AstraZeneca or I got mine early. I got Pfizer, so I actually got mine straight away. I didn't really care. I didn't worry. It didn't worry me either way which one. I know there's all these stupid rumours about thrombosis and, arteries blocking and stuff like that. I think it's just so very small amount of people that would have that problem. And if you look at the UK, there's so many people in the UK had AstraZeneca. There's so many people in the UK had it, and they didn't have that many people have an issue from it. So what do you guys got? 60 million people there? Haven't you got 60 million people in the UK?
Yes. Is it 60, 65 million?
Yeah.
Something like that?
That's I mean, and what are you guys now? You're probably about 85% vaccinated, aren't you? Somewhere around there.
I think we're at 89, 90%, aren't we, Andy?
Yeah.
On first jabs.
What are you on? Like that.
What are you guys on second? What
about
would you
85, 80, 70, 80.
Second.
70 or 80, yeah. So when you look at that...
It's good. Yeah, that's it, Matt.
And we're talking about this
69 mil.
What did we talk about a few weeks ago? You guys had you had the British Grand Prix, and there was something like 300,000 people that went to that. And as a result, there were definitely COVID case spikes in that as a result of that. But
Of course.
But they're just cases. It doesn't necessarily mean these are people that are on ventilators in hospital and dying. There are two completely different things.
This is the point, isn't it? Yeah, they still keep giving you the case numbers and etc. But that's not. We don't need to know that anymore because it's a constant 35,000 every day that have been, that have got it. We don't need to know that anymore. We know that there's always going to be 30,000.
Yeah.
It's the people who are either in hospital or dying from it you needed to know.
Yeah.
And
it's almost
quite
a bit like
low compared to what it used to be.
It's almost a bit like how many people had a sniff. They had a bit of a sniffle. Did you have a sniffle today? Yeah. Okay. We're gonna. It's getting to the point where it's really going to be like that for everyone. I understand there's some people who have got a massive fear about this, and I am careful about what I say because I do actually agree somewhat to some of the fears, but at the same time, that the vast majority of people will get COVID and pass through it without too much drama. It's a nasty cold to get. Let's not argue about it. It's nasty. Sometimes it hangs around, but it's going to be a fact of life unless someone miraculously forms a cure for it, which I don't think is going to happen very soon. They haven't cured the flu.
We're trialing a variant one, though, aren't we? We're trialing a variant vaccine now, which is supposed to adapt to each variant or something in Liverpool. We're trying that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It's under ongoing things.
There's a guy in South Australia, in Adelaide, who's Flinders University, who's trying to develop a cure similar to what they. Well, it's not really a cure. It's similar to what they did with the AIDS vaccination. It's kind of similar. I don't really understand it, to be honest, but it works that sort of way. It works on the proteins or something. We'll see what happens there. I reckon there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. I don't. Did you guys see that? You guys get Sky in the UK, don't you? There was some news report the other day where they had this journalist who literally she interviewed Trump and she interviewed the head of the CIA, and she interviewed a whole bunch of people all over the world. She was from Australia, and basically proved, where the virus came from, all this sort of stuff. And then she literally just said to the people, "Hey, so the information that I've got, how accurate is this?" And they're saying, "Well, we can't reveal any intelligence information because it'll put people in dangerous situations, but the information that you've got is pretty similar to the information we've got." So without saying that, without saying that it's confirmed, they pretty much said it was confirmed. You know what I mean? It's like saying it without saying it. It's like we can't say anything. It's like that. It was a bit like that. And the thing that I got out of that was, I thought it was a bit of a head scratcher, right? Was let's say that it did get developed in the lab, whether it was on released on purpose or accidentally. I don't really want to get into that argument, but let's say it definitely got developed in the lab. Surely if someone's developing something like that, they would have a person next to it who would be co-developing a antidote. I just think that Darwin Award winner is about to come out of this if that's not the case, right? You would not develop a virus that would literally wipe out the human race if you didn't develop something next to it at the same time that would counteract it. It just doesn't make sense. But I don't know. Maybe they didn't. Who knows? Maybe they didn't get it. Who cares? Anyway, we completely went off on a rant today, didn't we?
Welcome to the Synth Show.
I'm sorry. I am sorry. I am totally sorry. I did go off on a rant today. Sorry, dumb Jezza. Yes, I probably. If my channel does get cancelled, well, bad luck. Who cares? We can just open another one. They can't stop us, can they? Yes. Anyway, let's park COVID because I shouldn't have talked about that. It is a synth show, and you guys are probably sick of talking about it anyway. Speaking of which, we can talk about anything else. Talk about anything else you like.
That's it.
So, Ranz, you're going to completely change your room into you're moving all that into another room. This room's going to be bigger. Are you going to have is it going to be split into sections? You're going to have like a full-on modular wall, your desk, and then your working space as you are now for doing the show? Or is it going to be more sort of for you producing music and stuff, as it were, or are you actually, making it for your show as well?
Well, the show is kind
if that
of...
makes sense. It sounds a bit waffling like rave, Dave.
It does make sense. Okay, so I'm just making sure the battery's not going to go. The show is kind of... it doesn't really run me in a sense. Like I don't set my systems up for running a YouTube channel. But I will have a little corner where I've got the camera and that's set up. That's always going to be the case because I've got to have it somewhere, right? But in terms of my setup, it will always be to do purely to make music and to produce. So that's putting that aside. The big thing for me, Darren, was not being able to put my big keyboards out. Because when I do have them out, I've got to move stuff out the way because I've got to literally either put them along here or behind, or actually just have them on keyboard stands, over here, and it's in the middle of the room, and it's not good tripping over keyboards. So for me, I really just wanted to have them out, and I've got some really nice keyboards that I love, and I want to have them out permanently and connected and turned on, just like you have behind you, mate. And I just always really, really wanted to sort of have it all sort of spread out a bit nicer, kind of like this is spread out, but I'll have 3 of these as such. So as I am now, it's literally just one sort of big long desk, and then there's a little bit behind me, which is not really used for much. It's just sort of electronics over there at the moment. So I'll have 3 of these sort of desks like this, which are about 3.5 meters long in a U shape, and I'll just sort of configure it that way. I'll probably put I'm not really sure. I'll probably put Eurorack. Thinking at the moment, I'll probably put Eurorack together at the moment. But don't forget I'm going to be making 2 big 104 HP cases. So they will probably look nice together. So they'll sit on one of these desks. So if you look at this here, that's from that point there to that light, which you can see there, that's 1.2 meters. So I'll have just one desk with 2 cases that'll go up to about this high sitting on it. And then that will do away with the need for these 3 Eurorack cases that you see here. So I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see. So you can see the 3 Eurorack cases there, the 2 Arturias and the Behringer down the corner. They'll all go. I don't need them. I'll just get rid of those on the used market. And then what I've always wanted to have is like a little sampling section, because I do love my samplers. I've now got the S2400. I've got the Akai Force, which is going to be set up in front of my Eurorack because that's how I'm using my Akai Force. And then the MPC Live will still be my brains, as in a hardware controlling brains. So that'll be in the middle. And then I'll probably sort of put the synths either side, depending on, whether it be sort of some sort of desktop modules on one side and keyboards on the other. But when I had my old studio, which was another room upstairs in the house, which is now one of the kids' bedrooms, I found that the synths that I had more use of, or the ones that I liked more, were kind of closer to me where I worked on my computer. So I'd probably want to change it so that I'd have enough room for maybe a 5-octave synth next to me, like a sub 37 or something like that here, because I do like the ability to have an actual synth that I can use and play with here, as opposed to at the moment it's kind of not enough room to do that. And I do want to get another one of these little sort of desktop 19-inch rack units. Because I've got a few synths. Like I've got still got the Radius Wagyu, so I want to put the Radius in that, and there's the Argon 8 and a few other things that I want to chuck in there, like a couple of effects units and things like that. And also I want to put the 2 rack synths that I've got down here, which is the MKS70 and the Roland D550. So they've got to come back out. I want to bring them up. Not at the moment, they're down low. I want to bring them up so I can use them more. And then I'm going to plumb it all through the MRCC, which is just here, the MIDI routing control center, because this is actually a pretty cool little bit of kit. Because originally I was actually going to get the Mio XL. Is that the thing that was called? That's it right, Andy? The Mio XL is the MIDI thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to get one of them.
Yeah, but this has turned out to be just as good, so I'll go with this instead, which is beneficial. And then that's kind of the plan anyway. So it'll be a U-shaped design, and I don't know where I'm going to put the computer and the computer screen, but probably somewhere central in amongst all of that. So if it's a U-shaped design, you'd have that sort of central desk at the top, and so probably put the computer in the middle up there. That would probably be, or in the corner of one of the top corners or something. That would probably be sort of the way I'd do it. The other thing I was thinking about doing too, because it is actually a home theatre room that I'm converting, I'll end up with a 60-inch screen TV that can be actually used as a monitor. It's a 4K screen. So I'm thinking about using that as one of the screens, because that's actually really cool to have as a DAW editor, because you get a lot more.
Well, I've got a 40-inch right in front of me and a 37 just above that.
Yeah,
I know I keep looking up, but yeah, it's great to have a bigger screen for your DAW or even a separate screen for doing all the stuff. Yeah.
At the moment, I've just got 27-inch screens here, and they're good. There's nothing wrong with them. They're 4K. One of them is 2K. It's the Mac screen's 2K. It's not because the Mac can only do 2K. It's just because the screen's 2K. And I've always found that I have to kind of sit pretty personal to them to use it, in a DAW. So I would prefer to have a bigger screen. And the other thing too is I've been recently playing around with Bitwig, and I don't know if you're kind of getting sick of Ableton and you want to go to a DAW that still isn't going to be like scratching your head territory. Bitwig is kind of similar to Ableton, but better in a lot of ways. I like it. It's kind of cool because one of the guys that started Bitwig was originally from Ableton. So yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking there's been a few disappointments with, like I've got a Presonus Firewire mixer here, and I don't like to spend money for no reason. Like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that mixer. It's a beautiful digital mixer, and at the moment I can't use it on my Mac because it doesn't support the old legacy Firewire stuff. So the only option I've got with that is to use that on a PC, a Windows-based PC, or an older Intel-based Mac, which will work because it's an Intel chipset, or I can run Bitwig on a Linux machine and do it that way as well. So that's, there's a couple of sort of weirder sort of options there. I really don't want to get rid of that mixer because, I love it. I love the sound of it. It's like, you know what I mean? Like mixers have a sound. It's not like, I'll just get a mixer, I'll just go down to the local shop and just buy anything. They actually do have a sound about them. And when you make your tracks, and if you find yourself not liking the way your tracks sound, it might be your mixer or it might be your audio interface. Seriously, it's a big thing. Go check out different sounds in different mixes because they do have the warmth, or they might have some coldness about them, or they might have some, the way the preamps treat the audio, the way I just think that the different mixes sound different. So a lot of guys will say that the bigger end sort of, the Neves and that sort of stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about home studio stuff here. But even at that level, I can tell the difference between, like a Soundcraft or a Behringer mixer and, Presonus. And even within Presonus, I had an AR16 for probably about 6 months on loan. And that's their analog it's got a digital back end to it, but it's an all analog mixer. And then I've got the Presonus Studio Live mixer here. Completely different sound. They're both the same company, but they are literally completely different sound. So for me, I don't want to go out and buy another mixer because I could end up buying something I don't like. And then you're stuck with it. It's not like, in Australia, you can't really go to a shop and go, right, can I buy that? And then open it up, plug it in, turn it on, use it for a week, and then come back to the shop and go, no, I didn't like it. Can I have my money back? Because that doesn't work over here like that. Once you've opened the box, they might take it back. A shop may take it back, but they'll charge a restocking fee, or you'll lose 25% of your purchase. And I don't really have the ability to. The only way you can do that in Australia is you can rent something or borrow something from the store if they let you, or try it out in the store if that's all they'll let you do. So, so for me, I have to keep using the Presonus Studio Live because that's the sound that I like. A couple of questions in chat. So, David's agreed with me, probably about the mixer. He's saying his live track is nice. Yeah, they're not bad. I have tried the Thunderbolt converter. Let me just grab that while you guys are talking, because we did talk about this a few months ago, didn't we? And I don't know if I've pulled everything out. Sorry. So this is the Thunderbolt converter. Where are we? This one. So you've got focus. So USB-C there to that, and then you've got that to that. So you actually have to run the two, because my mix is the older style. So you're running converter to converter. Now that does work. It's been tested on, not on my system, but it's been tested on other systems. Those two converters will work. But on the Mac Silicon, what ends up happening is you end up with all of the Firewire drivers sitting in like jail in the back of the Mac operating system. And I've done videos on it. I've actually had tech support tickets with Presonus about it and everything. It's we're not going to go down that. It's a rabbit hole. So no, you can't use the converters. So yeah, that's a dead end, unfortunately, unless Presonus want to get off their ass and fix that, which I don't think they will, because they will only fix it if Apple fix it. And yeah, beware, if you're going to go Mac Silicon and you've got Firewire stuff, that's not going to work for you. Well, it didn't work for me. So beware.
Yeah. Must be very frustrating.
Has it changed with the new update, Monterey, or is it out yet?
I haven't got a notification yet for that. I did get a notification today for my MPC Live. Apparently there's a new firmware for that. That's interesting. Completely unrelated though. No, I actually haven't got the update for that. Is that literally, I should check, shouldn't I?
That's round the corner then, Monterey. Because I think the next Mac event's going to be in October, second Tuesday in October, where they're going to release the new Macs, and the Monterey will probably be released in November.
I don't think they will fix that though, Darren, because this is legacy hardware. You know what Apple are like?
That's true.
Apple they will drop Thunderbolt, they will drop Lightning, they'll drop everything, right? Or they'll rename USB-C to something that they want to call it. Like it's ridiculous. They just keep dropping, compatibility. Like if you look at the original Apple iPhone, it's got a completely different connector to what they do today, and it's actually gone through two different types of connectors between now and then anyway. So they will literally drop it, and I really don't think it'll fix this. If it does, I'll eat my hat. Yeah, Mac and I are in agreement there. The big update that we're both waiting on is the new firmware for the Akai Force. So there is a skeleton waiting in the park bench at the moment for that. I think Ken was in the room a little bit before. I don't know if he's still there. All the beta testers have got that firmware now. It's been with them for a while. The hold up that I'm aware of is that Akai, there's some things that the beta testers don't have that Akai are working on that they're going to include when they release it, and they haven't finished that yet. That's my understanding. So most of the bugs and everything that the beta testers have got, they'll obviously fix anything like that while you're in the beta testing stage. But my understanding is that there's a couple more things that they're programming for it, and even with the beta testers right now, they'll actually be blown away by the things that they're going to add. So And they did that with the MPC firmware as well. There was heaps of beta testers out there in the world that had MPC firmware before we got the latest one, and when they did release the public release, there was a whole bunch of extra stuff that they added that blew a few people away. So, and yeah, ask Lisa if you've got questions about the Akai Force. She'll tell you. I think like the big thing for people with Akai Force is that you got to remember that the Force is not an MPC. So I would probably be in the same camp where I wouldn't like to see the Force be so merged in with the MPC that it becomes confusing from the end user. What do I buy? One's got lots of pads, one like a grid. One's just got it would be confusing. The Force is more an arranging, clip launching machine, and the MPC is an MPC, so it's a sampler. So they kind of do need to have delineation between the two. So you don't really want Akai, having too much stuff working on both, because it'll become confusing for them. And yeah, don't ask people who are beta testers what information are in those for beta firmwares, because they've signed NDAs. They're not allowed to. Just out of courtesy, they can get into serious trouble. And Akai are pretty big on their NDAs, just to let you know too. So I've had dealings with them, not in a bad way, but I've had dealings with them, so I know how they can treat it. So I think the Force is a really, really good product. I think it's got some future. It depends on what Akai want to do with that future. It really is probably where I would question, and I can't really say any more than what I'm saying because I'm being very political here. But really, if I could use the word get excited about the Force update, would probably be a fairly safe thing to say. A lot of beta testers have said that, and I think it's quite safe to say. Be excited about it, because when it does come, a lot of people will wish they had a Force. I actually probably said that the last time they did a firmware update, because they added arrangement mode and a few other things. It was actually really, really cool what they did to it. So just remember too, these companies that are writing firmware, these are massive firmware updates that are like adding features that synth or that device never ever had before. So think about it like when we talked about the Base Station 2 a couple of years ago, when they did the affix mode update, and they hadn't done a firmware update on that synth for like 5 years before that, and all of a sudden now it's a dual phonic synth, and it's got an extra oscillator and all these kind of really cool things that they added to it, and it cost you nothing. It's like you basically got a new synth for nothing.
I'm surprised they've not started thinking on a Force too, because the Force has been out for quite a long time now, and they did an MPC live too. So I'm surprised the Force 2 wouldn't be on the cards.
We didn't talk about the new Akai product today, which was the controller that they brought out, the studio controller. I don't know why I didn't decide to do it. I kind of felt that it's sort of along the same lines as what Native Instruments do. They build hardware controllers for software. It's not really, maybe we'll leave that for another show. We'll talk about that soon. But I kind of feel Akai may release an MPC 2 or something like that in the future. But and I have to be careful what I say. But right now, where we're at is a pretty good place, where we've got two pieces of hardware that have been around. One's been around since 2017. The other one's been around since 2018. So really, what are we looking at? 3-4 years. It's not bad. The amount of firmware updates both of them have had is pretty good. The Force has had less, of course, than the NPC. when I say it's had lots of firmware updates, doesn't mean it's been rubbish and buggy and it needed bug fixes and things like that. Of course, everything needs bug fixes, but the firmware updates each time, like the MPC specifically has been a game changer in most respects each time that they've done firmware updates on it. And then on the Force, there were some major changes to the way that thing actually behaved. Was good too. Imagine, look, put it this way. Imagine we already know some of the facts about the Force.
Do you still use your Force, Rans?
Yeah. I'm using that at the moment. It's not there. It's because this thing's getting a bit of love. But it literally plugs into my Eurorack setup, and I just use it as a clip sampler, basically. So what I was going to say is, think about the Force as it's a little bit similar to an Ableton Push in that sense, but you don't have to have the computer turned on. Just sorry for a sec. So you've got the ability to run it like an arranger with clips, and you've got tracks and things like that. The way that sort of works as a producer when you're kind of sound designing and you're sort of generating ideas is actually genius, because you may not necessarily be building a song, but you're building snippets that can lead to a song, and the ability to, once you've grabbed those samples or those clips, we'll call it, the way that you can manipulate them with all the stuff that's built inside the Force, the engines, the effects, the sample mangling that it's got, the arranging, that sort of stuff, that's actually genius, and that kind of really leads to a different way of producing. And I like it. It's a very sort of it's a progressive way, if that makes sense. Like you're fumbling about, mucking around. I can just imagine Andy, right? He's there on his Eurorack and he's making a couple of cool sounds, and he's thinking to himself, "Oh, that sequence sounds cool." All right, but everything that he's got on his sequencer is all analog, and if he makes any changes, he's lost them. He can take photos with his phone or whatever, but if he clicks a clip button on the Akai Force, he's recorded that sequence. It's all in time.
Don't you dare say Akai Force to me, Rans. Don't you dare, because that is exactly what is going to happen with the MPC, right? Having begun to actually use it a lot more, it is going to sit. The plan is it's going to sit right next to the modular. That is where it's going to be. The rack, the MPC, a keyboard, and that is going to be the heart of it. Right, so don't you start telling me I'm going to have to get an Force, because I'm not. All right?
You're your own person, buddy. You're your own person, mate. No, but
shut off, Darren.
on your MPC, Andy, on your MPC, you can.
Yeah, it will do it.
You can do clips on that.
The things
you're good.
You're good. I'm not as big an ignoramus about it as I pretend I am, but it has its place now. It is going there, and I have actually in my own head sorted out quite how it is going to. I say sorted out. I've not worked out how I'm going to plug the CVs and things in quite yet, but as a means of recording, storing, arranging, yes, I've sort of begun to get my head around that, and that is what's going to happen. It'll be either over there, or it will be here, or it will be behind me, depending on where things go in here once I've decided where I'm going to put stuff. So don't nag me, and don't tell me I have to buy a Force, because actually I can see what's going to happen. I can see after a few weeks I'll be going, if I had a Force, would I be able to do that with that? You've worked, X101 said, have I finally worked it out? The answer to that question, X101, is worked it out? You're joking. I've barely scratched the surface, but I feel considerably more competent with it than I was. Yeah. And actually, it was messing about really with that drum synth, the new synth that came out with the 2.10 update, and recording a few little tracks with my keyboard in it. Yeah, that's made me go, right, I know, I'm happy now it's going there. Right. Am I an expert? Am I Eckers? Like, no way. But Andy, it's going to have its place.
If I was you, what I would do is get myself a Novation Launch Control XL, right? Get yourself a Novation Launch Control XL, like Inky and I've got. Learn how to map the faders and the pads and all that sort of stuff, which is not hard. There's videos on it. There's heaps of videos out there on it. And have that thing sitting next to your MPC one, have that then connected up to your, whether it's a mixer or whether it's directly into your Eurorack output or whatever you've got, right? And then literally you've got the ability then just to either loop sample, clip sample, or sample, depending. There's all the different ways of sampling in that thing. And then you've got the ability to use that second controller as a track mixer, track manager.
I am going to, before I do anything like that, I am going to have to work out whether my plan with the MPC and the modular actually works for me. Okay. I've got to try that first. I understand. I mean, I chatted with Inky about that. She mentioned about using controllers, and it seems like a good plan. But that's another step down the line.
Yeah. Look, just do it in your own time. There's no rush.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you think
No
about
rush.
it,
I've had the thing over a year.
I've had my MPC live since 2017, and I still probably only use maybe a third of its capabilities. So
I'm quite happy to accept that. I mean, part of me was even thinking, do you know what? That box would make an absolutely brilliant polysynth for taking out live. You know, and nothing else. Right? I love that one. I love that channel set up for that synth. This channel set up for this. And just change the MIDI channel. And you've got all these different polysynths because those new synths that are included in it are great. They're really fantastic sounding.
They're beautiful. Yeah.
That's it. You know, why buy another polysynth? You've got that MPC. It sounds great.
Well, yeah.
So I'm being slightly contradictory, but that's me. Right.
Yeah, and also chatties were saying things like the Keystep Pro.
Keystep Pro. Yep.
I asked in Discord during the week whether I should get a Keystep Pro. Because it does add some other sort of abilities that, I don't know. I probably don't need it, but I'm just sort of asking, because I've got a Beatstep Pro, I've got a Keystep, you know, do I need a Keystep Pro?
Yeah.
It's purely more to do with what does it actually deliver for me. I was just kind of interested in it. But I actually think those who, like, let's say you don't have a Keystep, let's say you don't have a Beatstep Pro, but you do have a Keystep Pro, that is going to be perfect because it literally is, that thing is an island in its own right. It's got, you know, multiple sequences. It's got really, really good things in it. There's a few things that should have that doesn't, but we won't go there.
Well, I've done a bit of digging about this because I'm very, very tempted by that. But I think for me in here, because I've got the Beatstep Pro, I think it will be the Keystep 37, which is what I would probably go for at the moment.
See the
because
Keystep
I'm actually
37,
moving into trying to do more sequencing within the rack itself rather than because it's the Beatstep Pro. It is very predictable in what you do, and I want to sort of move away from it. So
I think it does. The Beatstep does lack a lot of stuff, but the Keystep 37 is really what the Keystep should originally have been, in my opinion.
I
because
think you're right. Yeah.
You know, the power input, doing away with that stupid micro USB. They solved. You know, they gave you assignable knobs on it. They gave you a little readout so you could actually work out what tempo the thing was doing without plugging it into your computer. I mean, that was just stupid. So I mean, the Keystep 37 is actually probably they should probably stop making the Keystep now and just make the Keystep 37 because really it's Keystep 2 really, if you want to call it anything. That's definitely the better one. I don't know, like one thing that I don't like about the Keystep, not the Keystep 37 and not the Keystep Pro, just the Keystep, is that one's not in front of me, there's one here. I always accidentally hit the side of it because it stops on the friggin' F key. The bottom of the keyboard stops at F. And I'm always accidentally hitting the side of it. Even no matter how long I've used this thing for, it just does my head in. Like, I just don't get why things stop at F. It doesn't make sense. Like, can't you just... The 37 doesn't. I don't think it stops at C, right? But yeah, there's just not enough. There's not enough keys on it for me. And they're tiny little keys too, so yeah. Little rant there.
Everything starts with an E. So why shouldn't things end with an F?
Well, it doesn't end with an F. It starts with an F if you're going left to right.
Well, actually, I was actually thinking, I've got that going around my head now. Who did that track, Darren? Come on.
If it's
I can picture it as well.
if it starts with an F.
Planet are you on? Planet ecstasy. Easy Posse. Thank you, X101. That was it. Easy Posse. That was it.
Yeah.
Easy
I
Posse.
don't know that.
Thank you very much. No, it was a big rave hit earlier, sort of late 80s, early 90s.
I don't know that one. No.
Thanks, X101. You hit the nail on the head.
I might even have it on vinyl somewhere.
MC Kinky, that was right. That was right.
See, Andy's with me. Andy brushes the ribbons, the touch ribbons on the key step as well. So he's with me. He does it. I do it. I'm not the only one. I've talked to a lot of people that have the original key steps, and they, you're not looking down at your keyboard when you're jamming out. You often hit the left-hand side of that thing. It's common.
No, I'm going to be very rude here, Ranzee. I'm going to have to wrap up in a minute because I'm supposed to be going to Doncaster for 5 o'clock, so I'm going to be late.
Oh, we'll all wrap. I think we'll all wrap up.
Sorry, everyone.
That's
I've
okay.
got to go and see my dad. Bye.
I'm surprised my mic hasn't gone, even though it's been warning me for the last half hour. There you go. So anyone who's got a Rode Go Mic Pro, whatever you call GoPro, whatever, the red thing on the on the battery, you still get another half an hour of the thing. Beautiful. All right, let's wrap it up. All right, fantastic.
Right,
another week.
Sorry, I feel like I've been very abrupt there. Take care, everyone. Trouble.
We'll end it. All the best with your week. Make sure you press record is my advice for the week. Make sure you press record. And
yeah, you're right. My dinner is in the oven.
We'll see you all next week. Stay care, stay safe, all that sort of stuff. See you next Saturday. All the best.
Bye. See you, Andy.
Toodles.